There we go. We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to quite possibly one of the most intriguing, if not the most intriguing, Thursday night matchup we have had this entire season. It's not just the fact that we have the former number one versus the former number two. We have a Jets team that, maybe a little ahead of schedule compared to where some people thought they were going to be this year. If you watched our offseason preview series, we warned you ahead of time. This is a very talented team, but they are fighting for their life to make the playoffs. The Jags are also resurgent and going on a little bit of a late season heater to potentially take the AFC South from the Titans, but they have to win tonight in order to do it. And also they need a little help from the Titans to lose at some point in the next 3 weeks, but based on recent returns for the Titans, that's maybe not impossible. So if the Jags win tonight, the Titans do one more loss, and then the Jags take care of business against Tennessee in the last week of the season, they can make the playoffs. And this is one of those teams that you really don't want to see in the playoffs right now because Trevor Lawrence is scorching hot, EJ.
Indeed, and we talked about that a lot on the podcast this week. Podcast came out yesterday. We talked a lot about how over the last 4 to 5 weeks, Trevor has been on a heater, and it's just getting hotter. He's doing it at the right times. He's doing it in the third and fourth quarters. He's carrying this team. He's performing when most quarterbacks tend to crumble or fold a little bit. He has poured through those final 2 quarters and either kept them in games or had them win games late. That's what they were hoping for when they selected him number 1 overall. We're going to see it. We're the beneficiaries of that. And speaking of being beneficiaries, starting right off the Super Chats, Coleman Jr. won $375 on a 6 for 6 last weekend using money from you guys' promo. Wanted to share the love. Thank you for that. That's amazing. I am extremely happy.
Tipping the dealer right there. We love to see it.
That's right. And speaking of, I saw somebody saying, hey, I hope they show the slips earlier this week. So we should probably just show the slips.
Yeah, I'm going to dive right into it because, we've made from our first deposit this year, we're up $1,000. You can actually see that up in the corner. We have won over $1,000 just on that one deposit that we've been riding throughout the year and kind of stacking wins on top of that. So I went a little bit bigger, EJ. I did $200 slips. I had one that I chose, and then you submitted your picks to me. And if either of these hit, we double our winnings for this entire season, another $1,000. And honestly, maybe both of them will hit. And then we'll basically pay for Shrine Bowl. So that would be amazing. EJ's slip, he took Jermichael Hasty over 7.5 rushing. He violated rule number 1, and he bet on a kicker. He did Riley Patterson over 1.5 field goals made. He took Garrett Wilson over 4 receptions. T-Law over 32.5 attempts. Considering the Jets' run defense, that makes a lot of sense. And Michael Carter, again, violating our rules. Took running back receiving over 10.5 receiving for Michael Carter. I myself, with my other $100 slip that I put down, I took Christian Kirk over 4 receptions. I did Travis Etienne less than 17.5 rush attempts. That felt a little bit rich because it's a rare thing to see a running back get 17.5, especially in one where I feel like, again, the Jets' run defense is not going to be super easy work here. I took Trevor over 19.5 completions. Couldn't quite pull the trigger on the attempts, but I did like the completions line. I took Elijah Moore over 29.5 receiving because the Jags secondary is vulnerable, but the main vulnerability is at that nickel spot in the slot, and Elijah Moore is going to get a lot of work there. And I took Zach Wilson over 15.5 completions. That's the one that's a little bit dicey to me, but if we only get 4 out of 5, we still get $150 out of this thing. So I won't complain with a free steak dinner. We'll go back and revisit these slips again closer to kickoff for the people that come into the slip or come into the chat a little bit later. But that's what we got, EJ. Is there anything that sticks out to you that on yours that's a little bit dicey, to say the least?
There's a couple things that are dicey, to say the least. Betting on receiving yards from running backs is a thing, but given the Jets' run defense and then the Jags' run defense that we talked about in the pod this week, the run defense actually played really well. What was it, 8 tackles for loss they had on Sunday? 9. So, it's very possible the Jets are going to have to try and swing it out wide to Michael Carter at least a couple of times. And if they do that, I think he gets over. Betting on a kicker, the Jags kicker at that, it feels like, again, that Jets defense, which is only allowing about 180 yards per team passing wise, the Jags are probably going to come up short on a couple of drives and end up having to try and kick those through. Again, if he gets 2 goals, that one cashes. But again, betting on kickers, betting on receiving yards for running backs. Somebody in the chat said that slip feels really dangerous. It feels dangerous to me too. But, betting on Zach Wilson feels even more dangerous. I had a couple of Zach Wilson numbers up there. Garrett Wilson, on the other hand, has been really solid over the last month. And I feel like, yeah, they're going to concentrate on him, but he's still going to get his. So that's why I went the over with him. We'll see how it goes. There's been a lot of change in both of these teams, and that makes any slip you're going to put down on either one really volatile, because it was Mike White. Now we're back to Zach Wilson. And of course, the Jags have heated up. Evan Engram did nothing for the most part of the early season. And he's had 2 or 3 monster games out of the last 3. Is he going to keep that going, or are they going to, is the Jets defense going to try and key on him to slow that down? And then, of course, any, Jaguars wide receiver has to go up against, somebody's got to go up against Sauce, and they're getting nothing tonight.
Oh, we know who. It's going to be the Zay Jones versus Sauce battle out there, which obviously I'm taking Sauce in that one. I think he's going to be the sacrificial lamb.
That's right.
And then Christian Kirk's going to get a million targets in the slot, but somebody's got to get taken away. I would imagine it's going to be Zay tonight. Maybe Marvin Jones, but most likely Zay.
Yeah,
Sauce
Marvin Jones.
So.
Yeah, and Marvin Jones's frequency numbers, the number of times they target Marvin Jones in this offense, it's low, right? They get he gets a couple a week, and he makes highlights with at least one of them. So you're like, oh man, Marvin Jones is doing things again. You go and look, and his receiving totals for the last week, 3, 4, 5.
But there's a touchdown in there, or like a 40-yard grab,
big play over somebody. So I had looked at both Marvin Jones Jr. and Zay Jones, and there's a lot of volatility in these two teams right now. And then you throw in it's late season. It's raining tonight there. It looks pretty cold. There's weather. Even something solid showing Bam Knight right now. Bam Knight had a couple of really big games and then, didn't have one. So is he going to get back on the horse? I feel like he probably does. But again, that Jags run defense really fired up on Sunday. So that didn't feel really solid either. There were very few like, I'm taking that. Give me that. That's a gimme.
Getting to a couple super chats here. Paxman for $2. Apparently, Ed Sheeran ran a 4.33. I love it. That's a reference to a viral tweet that this person put out. I think it's like a Taylor Swift fan or something like that. That they're essentially saying like, oh, football players don't have as much value as artists or musicians because they have an inability to write a song, which. Completely ignoring the fact that the greatest kicker in the history of the sport is also like a very talented, accomplished opera singer. Like Steven Jackson, one of the best running backs of his generation, is like an amazing artist with multiple mediums. Like, I don't know, people that don't watch football that have preconceived notions.
Thomas Q. Jones.
There's so many like great,
I know,
multifaceted artists that also happen to be football players, and people that don't watch football don't understand that. So their opinion, quite frankly, doesn't matter. Autumn for $5. It's weird how time flies. I feel like just yesterday I was watching how a bunch of Mormons and the New Hampshire Mafia shaped football. I kind of regret changing the title in that video. I felt like maybe the original was better. Maybe I'll go back and change the title, or maybe I'll do a more Mike Leach centric follow up to that and everything that came out of really the whole BYU sphere of influence, which Mike Leach was a part of, obviously, because Mike Leach, unfortunately, passed away. If you guys don't know that already, one of the most influential football coaches at any level in the last 50, 60 years of the sport. So I would love to do a little part 2 on that video and really focus on him. Autumn also for $5 with Brett saying that oh, God damn it. With Brett saying that Fields would fit with Nagy and T-Law with Urban. Sorry, Brett. Just can't let that slide. In my defense, at the time, we did not know that Urban Meyer was a piece of shit. And we did not know everything that we now know about how the Matt Nagy experience was going. So, I was being optimistic. And I got bit in the ass by that. But we live, we learn. It's okay. It's okay. Nobody else hired Urban Meyer since, so people learn from that, just like me. By the way, have you seen Ryan Fitzpatrick's sweater that he has on?
I've not seen the sweater yet. What about my sweater? Come on.
Yeah, you look like a very typical Pacific Northwesterner right now.
I do when it's 25 degrees out today during the heat of the day. It's probably colder now.
71, my
It's
friend. Southern
I know.
California.
You, me, not the same. We are not the
We're
same.
on fire all the time, but it's 70s at
Yeah, all
Christmas,
the
so
time, even in the middle of winter at the solstice. No, I would take the 71 today. It is nippy outside. It's nice getting a little bit of dusting for a white-ish Christmas, we hope. But yeah, you go outside, it's bundle up time.
Colton Cherry for $5. Thank you, Colton. Turning 21 soon, was wondering how you guys find and discover all the cool drinks you guys have on the show. Any tips on exploring one's taste?
Yes.
Oh God, where do I even begin? I mean, you're not 21 yet.
Flights.
That's a great one. Yes.
When you get to be 21 and you go to a place, I don't care whether it's beer or whiskey or whatever it is, you go to a sushi place and they have, sake flights. A flight is 3 or 4 small glasses, usually 2 to 4 ounces. You'll pay 20 to $30 to have a basically taster of 4 or 5 different types, styles, things that they brew or distill. You share it with the table. Everybody gets a little bit of a sip, and you can kind of start to say, oh, okay, like IPAs, not my thing, or porters, oh, too heavy, I don't want that, or Scottish whiskey, not sure I like smoky, without having to buy a $20 or $30 glass of something really nice or a full bottle. Or you can go to Total Wine and Beer and get a whole bunch of tasters.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you can go buy like 6 or 8 little different whiskeys or bourbons or whatever it is you want to try, tequilas, and yeah, you'll look like a reprobate that's heading for a long flight, but it's not a problem. You can go and get 6 or 8 small bottles, try them. You're not in for, again, $30-$40 worth of something you don't want, and nothing ventured, nothing gained. But at the same time, you can find some of your favorites that way, and then maybe buy a medium-sized bottle of that, try that out. But that's the way I would do it, because nothing worse, and I do this occasionally with beer, like they don't have singles all the time where you go. And yes, you can pull one out of a 6-pack and take it to the register, but I always thought that was kind of a dick move. So sometimes I'll buy the whole 6 and I drink the first one and I'm like, damn. Like this is now a gift. I need to find somebody that likes this type of beer and give this to them, because I'm not going to drink it. And you're out 12 or 14 bucks for a 6-pack of beer if it's really good. But tasters, flights, and singles, if you got them, you can always just grab one and see if it's nice. And if it's not, no major loss. That's a sweater.
I didn't see it. Oh,
Ryan, I
Fitzpatrick,
just saw Fitzpatrick's. Yeah, that's a sweater. I approve.
I will also say your food taste, like what you like to eat, I would also say informs heavily what you might enjoy drinking with it. So kind of like how you don't drink red wine with fish, you do white wine with fish, and you do a red with beef. Something like heartier, whiskey based with a steak, I tend to recommend. If you're doing something lighter, you could do a gin cocktail like fish or a salad or something like that. Something lighter would go with that. And then, I mean, tequila, you can kind of do anything because tequila, but it depends. Like certain spirits go with certain foods as well. So, experiment with that. I also want to do one more note for the chat before I go back to the prize pick slip, because I put out a tweet a couple days ago. When I was preparing for this stream, and I had Trevor Lawrence against 5+ pass rushers since the Jags started going on their hot streak around week 9 or so, right? So he is 74.6% completions. That is second in the league compared to Mahomes when it's 5+ pass rushers. 570 yards, that's third. 5 touchdowns, which is also third. Only 1 interception, and 30 first downs. There's a whole bunch of comments that were like, well, good thing the Jets only rush 4, and they suffocate you, and they rush 4, and so he's not going to see a whole lot of blitzes, so none of that matters. I want you guys to know he's also really good against 4-man rushes too. Since that same time period, pulling up the stats here, 9 touchdowns, no picks, 1,130 yards, which is top 8. He has the highest passer rating in the league against 4 or fewer pass rushers over that time at 106.1. He has 10 drops, which is tied for third. He has a monstrous completion percentage, again, 68.3, which is fourth. So kind of doesn't matter whether it's 4 or 5 or 6. Trevor Lawrence has been insanely hot. So he still matches up well against the Jets. That's what I'm trying to say here. The whole they don't blitz. I wish that mattered, but against a top 5 to 7 quarterback, it really doesn't. They're going to beat you anyway.
Their pass rush has cooled off a little bit. One of the earliest bets on the Jets slip this week is the sack number for the Jets defense. And I was like, oh, that feels like a free one. And then I looked, and their pressure rate's still pretty high, but their sack number's taken a dip as of late. They're not getting home as much. So that one, was a good line. It was set right where, I think it was set over and under 2. And I was like, oh yeah, Jets defense definitely going to get more than 2 sacks. And I thought,
getting hurt probably had something to do with that. But.
Oh, for sure. And it's Trevor Lawrence. He's mobile. His pocket movement's been good. He's big enough and strong enough to escape some of those, just ducking out of them. We saw that on Sunday. So if you're rooting, you'd have to get 3, right? You'd have to get 3 straight up sacks. And we could definitely see it with that suffocating secondary that the Jets have. But the pass rush, which was vaunted early in the year, they were tearing people up, has cooled a little bit of late. So again, one of those lines that looked great a month ago, and I was like, oh yeah. And I was like, not really, actually. That's about where it should be.
Chad Martinez for $5. Please help me pick a nice whiskey for my family on Christmas. Last year I did the Redbreast Cask, which you spoke highly of. Any recommendations? Angel's Envy Caribbean Cask Rye. So the Angel's Envy Rye, they age it in rum casks, and it's phenomenal. It's very approachable, even for people that aren't super big into whiskey, but whiskey lovers also absolutely love it. Angel's Envy Rye, thank me later. They're all going to obsess over it. Paxman for $2. I need Garrett, 55 plus yards, a touchdown, and 5 plus receptions. I mean, assuming you mean Garrett Wilson. Against this secondary, that's not just likely, that's probable, I would say. That's pretty much their only corner that I think has been holding his own this year. Tyson Campbell, the Georgia kid that they got a couple drafts ago. I'm really, really high on him. He's been solid. Everybody else has been a complete liability. So as long as, it's not Tyson Campbell against Garrett Wilson all day long, you're probably going to be okay. I'd be willing to bet he gets that.
Yeah, it's a little bit on the high end for each one. Just, he's probably going to get 2 out of 3 of those lock, but there might be one in there that he doesn't get.
Hardest will be touchdown, I would say.
I would agree.
I want to bring up the prize pick slip again for people that just joined us. So you guys can, if you want to tail this, by the way, promo code BOOTLEG, you'll get up to $100 free on your first deposit. They will match it up to that first $100. So if you want to tail it and get a little bit of extra on the back end, feel free to do that. Again, at the link down in the description below, promo code BOOTLEG will get you that. We have 2 slips tonight. I have my slip. EJ has his. We're both going for $1,000 because we've won 1,000 so far this season. So we're like, screw it. We're going to use 20% of our winnings and try to triple our money tonight. So I have Christian Kirk over 4 receptions against a rather soft nickel, in my opinion, in the Jets secondary. Soft nickel matchup. Travis Etienne, less than 17.5 rushing attempts. I do not feel like this is a day to run the ball against this Jets front. Trevor Lawrence, over 19.5 completions. Don't expect a whole lot to go down the field, but I do think he's going to be efficient and get a whole bunch of completions. Elijah Moore, out of all of the Jags corners you want to pick on, the nickel's probably the worst one, and Elijah Moore lines up in the slot mostly, so I would say over 29.5 receiving for him. And Zach Wilson, this is the one I'm most worried about, but also I could see it being plausible, over 15.5 completions. I just need 4 completions a quarter, EJ, and I'll hit on this. If he can't get me 4 completions a quarter, there's something seriously wrong. Going over EJ's slip here, he has Jermichael Hasty over 7.5 rushing. Riley Patterson over 1.5 field goals, so he's assuming a couple red zone stalls for Jacksonville. Garrett Wilson over 4 receptions, so he's right with you, Pax. Trevor Lawrence over 32.5 pass attempts total. And Michael Carter over 10.5 receiving, which, the Jags linebackers are complete horseshit in coverage, so that one also I could absolutely see. Again, if you want to tail or fade any of these slips, promo code bootleg gets you a $100 deposit match over on Prize Picks down at the link in the description below. Game time coming up close. We got T-Law getting introduced here.
Yeah, I'm going to read you some numbers just to put the fear of whatever in you.
Wonderful.
18, 14, 10, 16, 20, 18, 9, and 18.
Is that Travis Etienne attempts?
Nope.
What is it?
That's Zach Wilson completions.
Oh, fuck.
Game.
Oh, no. Oh, well, I'm fucked.
Not really. You're at 15-5. Now, let's see, 14? No. 10? No. 16? Barely, but you still made it, and 9. So of the 8 games he's started, 4 of them he's got closer, didn't.
Man,
so,
these lines, they know what they're doing.
These lines are really good, I have to say. Like, I would love to have low-hanging fruit and say, oh, got to be there, got to do that, can't miss that, that's the one. But a bunch of these are like, oh, man, especially the flat lines. Most of the tackle numbers were flat. A lot of folks know that I was a huge Devin Lloyd fan. In the draft, he was my inside LB1.
Has not worked out at all so far.
That's not true.
He started hot and then fell off a cliff.
Yeah, but then he peaked again a couple of weeks ago and had a really nice game in coverage. He didn't have a ton of tackles, but he was influential, had a sack. So he's been up and down. But again, his number for tackles tonight, I think, is like 6. And I was like, so you're telling me he has to have 7 tonight.
The hard part is getting him, because they rotate their guys. And so it's like, dude, how much is he going to be on the field? Depends on the personnel grouping here, So,
yeah, and Andre Sisco's been blowing people up, and he had, I think, tackles and assist number of 4, which sounds pretty good. But again, that means you need 5. And if you look at his last 3 games, it's like 4, 6, 4. You're like, okay, that's a perfect line, right? Got to have 5. It's right in the middle.
Somebody was asking, I thought it was Elijah Moore yards. Yep, 29.5 over is what I have for Elijah Moore yards, which seems very generous to me. Like, I think I think all the Jets receiving lines have gotten massively suppressed since Mike White was in there, obviously. But with a guy like Moore, that could be one catch.
Well, here's the thing. Moore, when he's in there and he's healthy, like he was for basically the first 4 games, receiving yards, 49, 41, 49, 53. Dead consistent. And then there's this middle period of 3, 1, 0, 0, blank. 11, 0, 0,
banished
blank.
To the gulag for a month.
And then comes back 17, and you're like, okay. Then 64, okay, he's back against Chicago, not terribly surprising. Then against Minnesota, 7. So out of the 3 weeks of New England, Chicago, Minnesota, he goes 17, 64, 7. And then the last 2 weeks, he seems back on pace, 60 and 51, back to that beginning of the year, right about 50-ish yards, which, seems reasonable, but you might catch one of those 0 weeks, which is, if there's enough of them floating around out there, you're like, oh, makes it tough.
Cal for $5. In Brett's defense regarding T-Law and Justin Fields, he rarely gets these forecasts about quarterbacks wrong. I mean, just look at his Herbert predictions. Herbert wasn't even as bad as my Mahomes prediction. I had Mahomes as like a 4th rounder and Deshaun Kaiser is like a top 20 pick. So Herbert's not even my worst one by a mile. It was bad.
Is he your worst social media quarterback pick?
Oh, by far. What's interesting is there was that quarterback class I think is fascinating because there was so much debate about Burrow eventually became the easy number 1. But after Burrow, it's is it Herbert? Is it Tua? Jalen Hurts? I threw my hat hard in the ring for Jalen Hurts. I said Jalen Hurts was a first-round talent. Obviously took a while to get there, but we're here now. That somehow miraculously aged okay. but there was so much debate about who was going to be the one to flame out, because statistically, at least 2 of them should have. None of them really did. Like, they all ended up at minimum starter level, some of them MVP level. And it's one of the only quarterback classes I can ever remember where, like, no matter who you took, you're kind of happy about it, at least for all these teams so far. So, yeah, we don't get that very often, but we did for that class.
Did you see that JT put out a video today, JT O'Sullivan, QB School, who, if you're not following, you should be, former NFL quarterback, excellent analysis, great channel, the QB School, over on YouTube. Give him a follow. Put out a video today about the Zach Wilson experiment in New York is coming to an end.
As in, like, he's going to get
from
benched?
What he's seeing on the field is saying, JT, I'm not going to throw my hat in the ring for this guy. I'm not seeing what I need to see that I see from other quarterbacks to say, yeah, we're going to hitch our wagon to Zach. And there've been a lot of whispers about that. We've mentioned it several times in terms of, he's got to turn the corner with this roster at the end of this year. We said it in our preview episode in the summertime. Look, if he doesn't do it with this is a really good roster that Joe Douglas has assembled. He has all the support he needs. He has all the receivers he needs. He has the running backs. He has the line. Like, if he doesn't flourish, if he doesn't make it happen, it is unlikely to happen for him here. Now, again, you go to a different situation, get a different coach. We all know how that works. Maybe that works out for him. But in terms of, hey, I didn't have, Justin Fields getting less than 2 seconds to throw for the first 6 weeks of the season. Like, he didn't have any protection. Give him a break. You got to give him some of that before you say, this, that, or the other thing. Zach Wilson doesn't have that luxury. He is surrounded by very high quality NFL talent. And if he continues to put up overall completions per game in the teens, that's not an NFL quarterback, folks. You're not gonna take a quarterback to the Super Bowl in this era of football with a guy completing 13, 15, 16 passes a game. It's not a thing.
And, there was a stat where it's like, oh, he led all quarterbacks in. There's a metric that Pro Football Focus has called big time throws
last week. Yep,
he led all quarterbacks with 5 big time throws. Well, I went back and looked at all 5. And this is not a commentary on what determines to be a big time throw or not. And this has nothing to do with, like, how PFF grades things. It's just a stat is what a stat is, right? But I looked at all 5 of the throws that qualified as big time throws, and to be honest, I was not super impressed with, like, half of them. One of them was like a straight up schemed up shot where it was like boot flood, and then the high 7, stemmed it inside as if he was running like a high 7, and it's a single high safety structure, so there's literally one guy out there, and then he broke, and it was like a boot throwback post, right? And I'm like, good throw, got it there, got a touchdown. I think it was to Conklin. 100% scheme. Like, that is, we have a single high structure. This is our shot play against a single high structure where we know we're going to get a one-on-one and the safety like leaning super hard. We're going against the grain of a bootleg. It's going to be wide open, and it was wide open. And he hit the throw. Credit to him. There's a lot of quarterbacks that could hit that throw. And so I was kind of going through all those 5 because I was like, show me the throw that, like, won them the game. And I didn't necessarily come away. There was like 2 throws. There was one where it was like 57 yards in the air to Wims. I think it was Wims, not Mims. Wims, right? And it was like 57 yards in the air. It was like, wow, crazy arm strength. That thing was a fucking missile, right? And then there was another one late where he's like running to his right and hits Garrett Wilson. The rest of them I was kind of like, I mean, I get it, but I didn't come away with like the same feeling that with like when Herbert's throwing a big time shot late in the game, or Allen or Mahomes or Burrow, any of those. Like, Trevor. Like, Trevor had, even though he didn't have as many logged big time throws, I felt like he had more impressive throws and more of those impressive throws because I charted both of them leading up to this game, and he just didn't get the statistical credit for it. But yeah, I don't know. That's my way of saying, like, scheme did a lot to help him out, and there was a couple really impressive throws, but not 5. He didn't. in my opinion, I would not have said like, oh, he led all quarterbacks in big time throws. He led quarterbacks in schemed up big time throws, which I think is a little bit different to me.
It is. And again, you can't. His coach pulled out Idaho Potato Bowl stats 2 years in last week and said, this is the same guy that threw like whatever it was, 16 straight completions in a bowl game. And I'm like, our good buddy, our good buddy Brad from PFF said, man, you're pulling out Idaho Potato Bowl stats 2 years into your NFL candidacy. Like, you're reaching, you're on the ropes, right? And he is, and we do see it. But one of the things that NFL starting quarterbacks need to have, guys that start for a while in this league have, is consistency. And that is at least their average game is NFL average or above. Now they will have, there isn't a great quarterback out there that doesn't have a 4 interception game. And I mean, everybody that's in the Hall of Fame, there's 4 interception games out there. They all do it at some point, but you can't do it 2 or 3 times a season. You have to do it like once every 3 seasons. And your average game has got to be 225 to 250. Completion percentage these days around the mid 60s. Interceptions less than 1 a game. Touchdowns probably double that. And if you're doing that on average every start, you're going to get a chance for more starts. If you are only hitting that metric 1 out of every 3 starts, and it's way higher than that, you get these high spikes of like, oh, there it is. There's the ability. Again, it's like the old lineman phrase, right? Availability is the best ability, right? Consistency, availability of those results for a quarterback is really what's going to determine how long they get a chance to lead a team. And Zach will do it. We all see it occasionally. Like, wow, look at him go off. That's what we want to see all the time. But the lows are too low and they last too long. And if he keeps that up, he will not be starting for the Jets or probably anybody else next year because he has to clean that up. He has to get to that level.
So we had kickoff here. 1 play, they ran counter on the first play of the game. Looks like we had an RPO there with a backside bubble. Trying to establish Etienne early. I can't imagine they're going to stick with that too long. Looking at their coverage stats on 3rd and 6. Let's call it 3rd and medium. I'm not going to go 3rd and long. Jets are 48.5% man coverage in 3rd and medium. So I'm kind of feeling... maybe we spread something out. We get Etienne wide or a tight end wide to get a formation check.
Oh.
Yep, they did put Ingram as the solo, the ISO backside to get a formation check. And we got a sack fumble? Or is he down?
You're ahead of me here.
They're calling Jets ball. Jets ball. Was that Quinnen? I think it might have been.
I'm still on the run into the middle of the line in the replay there, so you're way ahead of me.
You might want to refresh on your side.
I am trying. I just did, and I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, it was Quinnen. Oh, God, just ran right through him. Oh, God. Okay, well, Quinnen looks healthy. That's a nice little bull jerk move. Finish with the arm over. Gorgeous stuff. Was that ball out? Yes, it looks like it was.
All right, now I'm up to speed. I don't know what that was. That was way behind.
So on the Jag side, because we're already in the red zone, I'd have to imagine they're going to try to build a picket fence and play like quarters or quarter half here. Just try not to allow anything big.
Oh,
zone read is your first call in the red zone?
Yeah, to Zach, and I actually had one of the ones I didn't take because I was not comfortable betting on Zach pretty much in any capacity was Zach Wilson over 12.5 rushing yards, because it feels like if he gets loose even a couple of times, he does have the skills to pick up 13 rushing yards. But right there, he's late out of that read and gets 0 to -1. So ugh.
Interesting call there. All right, we got FIB formation into boundary here, and they're running.
Yep, banging away.
Very interesting that you get a sudden change situation in the red zone and we are not calling a pass play.
Give me a shot, right? Yeah, give me a shot. Go right at it. And LaFleur's like, let's ease them into it.
I think it's almost like they're taking a free 3 and they really don't want to go backwards.
I don't love it.
That doesn't inspire confidence to me.
No, I don't love it. That is not let's just flip the coin to the other side. Would Doug Peterson have done that?
No.
He's turning Trevor loose. And now third.
Oh God, Zach!
Blasted. Yep.
Bro, check hot away from the slide.
Didn't even look.
That's the first thing you do.
Yeah, but he didn't even look. That's the scary part. Watch this. Watch this. Watch his head. He didn't even look. He's left, bang. He didn't even see it coming.
All right, maybe that's why they were calling runs.
Yeah, no, that is why they were calling runs right there. It's what I was going to say is LaFleur knew, and he kept him away from it, and then he said, well, look, we're kind of third and medium. We got to have you take your shot. Oh, did he miss it?
And he missed it. Oh, no, he barely snuck it in. Barely snuck it in.
Yep, slipped it in right side. Windy night, going to be tough. Going to be tough for field goals, but look at Zach. He's like, I didn't even see that guy coming. They're like, yeah, you need to look. You need to know which way your protection is sliding. And if you've got an unaccounted for guy, when we're talking about going away from hot, if you've got the line sliding protection left and your eyes are going left, you need to sneak a glance right at the snap as that ball comes out. Is a guy breaking at the snap? And if he is, guess what? He's mine. I have to know that. And then typically I have to throw, when we say throw hot, you want to throw into a blitz is the phrase, right? Because they're -1 defender in coverage on that side. Somebody's open. So you basically throw it right over them, right to hopefully the area they just left. But you throw to the hot side and the hot guy is yours. So if you're not throwing it, you got to avoid him. That guy is literally on you. The offensive line did not, quote unquote, give up a sack. That's your sack because that guy is yours to account for. And he never even looked at him.
Even if it's half slide, even if it's not a full slide, like if it's a full slide, like you definitely better look. Even if it's a half slide, because I think they brought it away from the 3-tech. So even if the center is just giving a jam and then looking left, as you're taking your drop, your eyes need to be down the center of the field so that you can see any kind of rotation, any kind of safety coming from depth, any kind of, like, you have to just have your eyes at the middle of the field for the first, 2 steps so you can get a macro picture of the defense. Like, it's beyond just throwing hot. It's just you have to know what you're looking at. I don't. God, that was frustrating.
Well, you can imagine what LaFleur's feeling, right? I gave him 2 runs to warm up, and I gave him 1 pass play, and his eyes are in the right place for the pass part of the pass play. But if you're not on your feet, it doesn't matter.
Oh, man. All right, let's try to catch up on a couple super chats here during the commercial break. Sonny for $5 Canadian. Love everything y'all do. Just wanted to know how you guys plan on reaching your boy for those free bootleg shirts for the season predictions. Let's see, Sonny, do I have a DM with you? Just in case I don't already have the DM, start it up with me or ping me again right now, and I'll add it into my priority folder. And then we'll get in touch with you about sending that out. I can't remember which season prediction it was, because we basically said whoever gets closest for each team gets a free bootleg shirt. So if you are one of those people, by the end of the year, you're getting free merch, please hit us up and let us know, because we would love to send you some free shit. All right, kickoff pretty soon here. As far as limiting damage goes, that was probably best case scenario for Jacksonville.
Well, neither team with a really auspicious start. Let's put it that way.
If anything, I think that whole sequence told the Jaguars coaching staff that this team does not believe in their quarterback. And if anything, I would be almost more confident. Even though I gave up 3 points, I'd almost be more confident because that right there told me everything I need to know.
I'm fascinated to know, and I would believe that they wouldn't go to script. So I bet LaFleur didn't go to script because it was quick change and deep in the Jaguars' end. He basically probably just flipped out his red zone
Yeah,
stuff.
you're on your red zone card at that point.
Yeah, he
You're
just
not.
pulled out. He's still got 15 or 20 plays or whatever he had in his script to start with. He's still got them there. He didn't burn a single one of them. So when we see the Jets take their next possession, probably with more normal field position, that'll be the start of the script. But I think he just sort of flipped to red zone, and obviously that was not something they're comfortable with. Holy cow.
So the Jets, their two most common coverages on early downs are man, because of course it is, and quarters. They like to play a lot of quarters on first down because they trust their defensive front to stop the run, and it looks like they've been holding true to that. That was quarter, half, though. Ran right into it with Etienne, so that's going to set up a 3rd and short. I'd have to imagine that we're going to get some kind of pressure look here because they really like to emphasize tackles for loss on 3rd and short.
Here's a look at Walker Little playing left tackle. That's good work.
Yeah, actually. Nice movement generated on Shepard.
Yeah, and good contact. Kept good, solid contact throughout. Basically moved him all the way to the first down marker.
Oh, no, we are getting a quarters look. Oh, no, they're bringing the nickel. There it is. Yep.
Oh!
And they got it. Evan Ingram striding out.
I love the play call.
An RPO on 3rd and short, and you trust Trevor to read it out.
Look at the motion from the tight end. This is Ingram. They generate this, so they're looking to generate movement right. They sneak him over a step or two, and they basically throw him to the blitzer side, right? The defensive back says, hey, nobody over here. I'm going to go. And they throw it right over his head to Evan Ingram for the first.
Yeah, actually, on second thought, I don't think that was an RPO. I think they were just calling play action, making it try to look like split zone.
Yeah. They were trying to get everybody flowing to the right, and they moved Evan Ingram just over a step and a half, and he was looking even before the play and sort of itching to get there because he didn't want to get caught in the trash. His whole responsibility on the early part of that route is to not get stepped on and get out there. You got to take 3 clean steps and get out, and if you do, there's not going to be anybody there, and you're going to get free yards. First big ball of the night, wobbles. Oh, and he almost caught it.
DJ Reed's a tough customer out there, too. It's not just Sauce.
No.
And, Sauce doesn't really get tested much anymore, so what teams like to do is when they're on the left hash like this, they'll go trips right to the field because they know that they're going to respond with a one-on-one, regardless of the coverage call. This was quarters. It was match quarters, but if you're in a 3-by-1, the backside corner in match quarters is literally just going to be press man coverage, so they know they're getting a one-on-one, and they're going to take their shots there. And DJ Reed's been tested a lot this season in that scenario because teams know that Sauce doesn't move around. So good on him for holding up. Oh, there goes Etienne again. Oh God, and he almost lost it.
Back. Yep, he lost it and got it back. Just going back to that last throw for a minute. It's freezing cold there. It's raining, so it's super slick, and it's windy as all get out. Trevor threw a ball that ducked even in that wind, and it still hit Marvin Jones in coverage over the shoulder, hit him in the shoulder. He didn't catch it, but as far as the throw goes, down the boundary with a guy in perfect coverage, DJ Reed was in his face. Trevor still put it on the patch, right? That's as good a throw as you're going to see, even though it didn't look super pretty. In terms of execution, ball got there. Hit his receiver in the core, and he didn't catch it.
Nice little end around there with Christian Kirk. Doug Peterson's been really in his bag as a play caller.
Agreed.
Jack Hunter for 10 pounds. Merry Christmas to you both. With regards to the Jags, how do you think the Chargers match up against them, considering it's likely they make the trip out to Duval in the wild card round? Right after this play, I'll get to that matchup because I think Chargers versus Jags is fucking fascinating for a variety of reasons.
Got to say, the Jets all-black unis are elite.
Oh, they're fantastic. All right, looks like cover 3 here.
RPO.
We're calling a zone read with Trevor. Yeah. Get a few out of it. All right, 3rd and medium. To be honest, I think we're in 4-down territory here because I don't trust the Jets to drive 90 yards back the other way anyway, so I kind of might have a double call here, and if we get close on 3rd and short, we just go up and either sneak it or run it, depending on what the double call
You
is.
mean take the field goal?
No, God, no. No, I want touchdowns here.
You mean take the field goal?
I'm not taking the field goal here.
I'm sure you mean take the field goal.
Why? Oh, because you got the because you got the kicker. That's right. That's right. You violated your own rule.
I did.
3rd and 3. I still might go anyway.
4th and 3.
Fuck it. Like, oh God, they're taking it. No, I want to put pressure on Zach Wilson.
I know what you want to do.
I know what you want to do.
This was what I figured was going to happen to the Jags on a windy night on the road. Was they're not going to get them all. They're going to have to settle for a couple of threes. And, it's no guarantee. I hope he just slams it right through.
Yeah, he got it. All right, so you need one more field goal tonight to hit your first.
One more field goal, and that one's off the table. And I think I'll probably get it because there are going to be drives that are just like that. I mean, that throw back in the drive to Marvin Jones Jr. that would have put him down on like whatever it was, the 7 or the 10. Like it hit him. Look, tough coverage. I'm not saying Marvin Jones should have caught that. It's a tough play to convert that. Again, a cold night, ball's hard. I get it. But, there's going to be some plays like that just don't get completed. We saw Etienne almost fumble earlier in the drive. I think there's just going to be some of that, late season pressure's ramping up. It's cold. It's wet. It's a primetime game. Everybody's watching. The players know that, by the way. The players know that all the other players are home watching this. This is one of the 2 games that basically all the players can watch. They're working Saturdays and Sundays, so they don't typically see all those games until they go back and watch film. But they're, a bunch of them are watching this game. They know all their college teammates are watching these games and whatever else. And it ramps it up a little bit. We'll see what happens. But I feel pretty good about the fact that Jags are probably going to kick one more throughout some part of this contest.
Jack, to answer your question about the likely Chargers versus Jags, well, not likely, possible Chargers versus Jags matchup in the playoffs, I would very slightly favor the Chargers, if only because the Jaguars' pass defense is extraordinarily leaky in most cases, other than, maybe when they're playing against Zach Wilson. They have one corner that I feel remotely confident in at the moment. And I feel like Keenan inside would get 7 to 10 catches in that one. I feel like Eckler as a receiving threat would completely tear apart their linebackers. It would definitely be a high-scoring game because I don't necessarily think the Chargers defense matches up super well with the Jags offense either. I feel like that would absolutely be an ETN game where maybe he actually would get over 17 carries in that one and a shitload of yards. But I feel like it would be the Jags run game plus a couple big-time throws from Lawrence versus, superhero Herbert. I would anticipate, something like a 28-26, very slightly favoring the Chargers. But Trevor Lawrence is good enough where he could very easily take over the game himself and still win that thing. But I think that would honestly be one of the more fun playoff matchups, just because you have 2 young superhuman quarterbacks and some really, really nice running backs, the Etienne and Eckler, and defense optional. That's a Big 12 type playoff game to me.
Yeah, somebody asked earlier thoughts on Muma, Chad Muma, the linebacker from Wyoming, Jacksonville guy, picked after Devin Lloyd. We liked him a lot. Wow, that's
a lot of rain. Holy shit,
that's snow, buddy.
That's snow.
That's snow.
I don't know. I live in California. I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, no, it's sleet, basically. It's hitting the ground and melting, which is why it looks like probably liquid on the camera because the camera's warm. But when it's swirling like that, it's too dry to be pure rain. Anyways, Chad Muma taking a while to heat up, much like his buddy from Wyoming, Logan Wilson, who did not have a stellar rookie season for the Bengals. Muma, for the most part, didn't get on the field until a month ago. He had a high percentage of special teams snaps. He had 1 game of double-digit percentage defensive snaps before a month ago. And then a month ago, 40%, 100%, 76%, and then back down to 15%. And again, like Brett said, they rotate their guys. You'll see Foye,
You'll see all of them.
Luakun, yeah, you see Devin Lloyd. Mumu's coming in kind of as the strong side backer, so just not as many opportunities. But since he's been in that last little month stretch, 6, 9, 11, and then just one tackle in that 15% game. He heated up a little bit. He looked good, but I think he is going to be like Logan Wilson. He's going to have a better sophomore year than he does a rookie year.
They brought pressure at Wilson again on first down. Now they're just running into it, setting
Running
up like
right
a
into
3rd and 7. So in a 3rd and long situation here, fairly balanced defensive play calling from the Jags. You get a lot of cover 3 and a lot of cover 1. They're well over 50% middle field closed. Not a whole lot of cover 2. Not a whole lot of quarters. Not a whole lot of quarter halves. I would expect something like either cover 1 or cover 3 here. Looks like we're getting another middle field closed structure here. Oh, maybe they're rotating back out. Looks like they did. Yeah, it looks like they rotated back, I think, to quarters, which is why the flat was so damn open there. That's a tendency breaker. That's like a 6% call for them, so they don't call that often.
Yeah, I almost took the Conklin over yards because they looked easy, but I thought, man, it's all dependent on him getting one like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't get that one, you're gonna be dinking and dunking in 7 and 10 and 11 yards. But like, I think he just tore the over on that one by himself. Yeah, because he gets look at that. He's got a free 15 there.
Somebody was so they don't design coverages to just not have anybody covering the flat. So somebody busted on that. I won't know until I see the all 22, but somebody definitely busted.
Yeah, Cody asked in chat, have you ever been to the Meadowlands or any other stadium in NYC? Yes, I've been to most of them. And rain can absolutely swirl like that. It's true. Philly, same thing. I should actually check game time temperature, but boy, that looked really dry, like it was hitting the ground. I could be wrong. But yes, I have been to those stadiums multiple times each, I believe. And yeah, there's lots of weather on the East Coast. It's really nasty looking.
Yeah, KC and really the whole Midwest was getting dumped on today. You know,
it was. I think JB said the high today was 6 in the morning. Yeah.
Oh God, that's miserable.
And the feels like, because they're getting a bomb cyclone. You know, they have great weather names. They're getting a bomb cyclone. The feels like was like -30 or something. And I was like, dude, like, don't go outside.
I got nothing against Iowa. Everybody I've ever met from Iowa has just been a lovely person. You could not
folks.
Pay me enough to live there.
Yeah,
not
the winner.
It has nothing to do with the state or the people. Good Lord, how do you survive that? I mean, come on.
You know, you're talking about 100-degree swing from your temperatures today in terms of it feels
literally, yes.
Yeah. That's a lot.
All right, here we go. Looks like kind of a 4 strong to the field, and we're Zach. Zach, buddy, that's a sight adjust. He's reading the corner, bailing and snapping it off early.
And you threw it to where you thought he was going to be, which wasn't it.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah,
this is
Darius
week
Williams.
16. You shouldn't. These two, again, I don't know who exactly. It feels like it was more Zach than Garrett. I'm not entirely sure who exactly ran to the wrong depth. But in week 16, you're supposed to be on the same page with this stuff.
Well, the reason I would lean with Garrett in that one is not because I want to pile on Wilson. But if Wilson was right there, oh, geez. If Wilson was right there to where he threw it, what would have happened to, I'm talking about 2 Wilsons, so that doesn't help. If Zach Wilson was right there, what would have happened to Garrett Wilson had he gotten that throw? Yeah, that's a hospital ball. He was throwing him into hard contact. So I would lean more with Garrett's adjust on that route than I would with Zach's, because if you sort of follow the line of the ball, it's a great camera angle from the sideline, basically throwing right at the camera. If you follow the line of that ball, Garrett gets like clotheslined if he catches that thing. So I'm guessing that wasn't the design.
Yeah.
Play callers don't typically ask for their receivers to get clotheslined. Occasionally, but not all the time.
Hockey says, hey, Brett, did you open Cure's gift yet? That reminds me. So EJ,
Yes.
After the stream,
Did they get it? They got it.
After the
flag
stream, I meant to. Oh fuck! I'm so mad at myself. I meant to bring it out in the episode this week. The other gift that Cure sent me was a Deshaun Kaiser rookie card.
Oh,
and
lovely.
I swear to God, it's one of my favorite presents I have ever gotten in my entire life, and I'm going to treasure it forever. I really am. And apparently there's another one. I did not get a chance to go out to the mail yet today. I'm going to go after the stream, but I'm going to present all of Cure's gifts to me on the next pod this coming week, because they've just been phenomenal. And it took everything in me to not like build myself a frame and turn it into a Christmas ornament. Maybe I will, but I loved that gift so much.
It does speaks to relevance. So excellent work, chat. Nicely done.
Did we get a roughing the kicker penalty? Did I miss that?
Yes, I believe.
Oh. Well, that's one way to generate offense, I guess.
It is.
That Kaiser card going to be worth a lot when he goes to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, we can hope, chat. We can hope.
Hall of Fame for what?
Being a good guy.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I liked Kaiser too, just like to be, completely mea culpa about the whole thing. I didn't like him quite as much as you did, but I did like him and thought that he had a very good chance to be better than he was in college. Turns out, not so much.
Not so much. Jared for $5. Currently 23 and snowing. We don't have earthquakes, hurricanes, wildfires, or alligators. Just got to keep repeating that over and over and over. I don't know. I mean, at some point, I'd willingly take an alligator in the pool every now and then. When I'm freezing to death walking outside.
He's like, I'll take the stitches. How bad?
There's a reason people retire to Florida from Chicago and New York.
Not a good one. Oh. Cody says running into the kicker, and they declined it because, again, they ended up pinning him at the 5, which is really great punt. We're devolving into a special teams podcast. You realize that?
Hey.
You started it, betting on kickers,
punters are
calling
too. Punters
punters numbers in the draft. Now we're talking about special teams penalties and kickoff and corner stuff. No, I have a lot of respect for special teamers. They work extremely hard, all of them.
Sean Tron for $10. If y'all were the Ravens GM, would you trade Lamar for Kyler Murray and a first to build for 2024, or do you think they're just a couple pieces away from topping Cincy next season? Sorry, be more. No, I'm not trading Lamar for Kyler Murray. In no universe am I trading Lamar Jackson for Kyler Murray. And I don't even dislike Kyler, but no way. No way.
Are you seeing this stat right now? No team has finished top 10 points and yards after doing it the year before.
On defense?
Mm-hmm.
Not even the Legion of Boom. That's interesting.
Yeah, they let one of those go farther on, but Salah's defense is, if you're betting against the Jags offense, which it looks like I was on my slip in a lot of ways, it's because this defense is legit.
Ooh, nice little trap run, getting 7 out of it. All right, I think I might be a little bit screwed about my Etienne under here. They are really trying to establish the run.
And he was hot last week. That's what kept me away from it. And he's holding his elbow. You might be fine.
I think he got a little bit of a stinger there.
Yeah, he got smacked. It's gold. The reason I stayed away from it is because, again, high variance. Earlier in the season, he wasn't ripping stuff off. Last couple of weeks, they have been leaning on him, and he's looked more electric. We talked about that in the podcast this week, and I just thought, I don't know if he's going to do it. Like, he could get a couple, and that's all he'd need, right? He's that kind of runner. Or they could just bottle him up all night, and he could easily come in on the under. So I didn't feel good about it either way, so I just left it alone.
You got your first Hasty carry. You're like 3 yards away from hitting the over on Hasty.
I figure I need 3 carries out of Hasty.
Yeah.
3 good carries out of Hasty to get 10.5 yards. And he could get it on 1, just to be fair. But if he gets 3 carries tonight, I feel real strongly that 10.5 is a fine number to get the over on.
It kind of looked like they're working on his elbow. I thought he
might
a
little
have
bit.
a stinger. I guess not. God.
Oh,
God.
Don't tip that. Don't tip that, big guys.
Guys, bat it down. Bat it down. Your offensive lineman, what are you going to do with it?
They're dreaming of thick 6, man. They are dreaming of thick
Dan
6.
Connolly does it one time, and all of a sudden every offensive lineman thinks he's Tyreek Hill.
Oh, he got mugged.
Yeah, Quinnen read that
I
super
know.
well.
Quinnen just it's like it looks like a penalty, but it's not. It's just Quinnen being like a full head and 100 pounds taller, reaching around a smaller guy, going, "I got it."
Oh man! All right, 2nd and 10. Let's see what we got here. Jets look like they're in quarters.
Oh, oh! It doesn't count.
Doesn't
because
count.
It was pass. Because it was a pass.
But it is a nice little gain from Hasty.
Yeah.
I don't think that we've seen a target to Sauce yet. Not that that's super surprising.
Yeah.
And I would say over under how many pass attempts until one of them goes his way. I'm going to say 20.
Oh, sorry. My 10.5 was Michael Carter receiving yards on the other side. Hasty's 7.5 rushing yards.
That's what I'm saying. You got like 4 more yards to go.
I was going to say 2 carries. Probably gets that done for me.
And he's still in the game,
from.
I think.
Oh, nope.
Oh, no. Etienne's in the game. Damn.
Yep, he's back. Oh,
God.
Whitehead. Jordan Whitehead. There's my guy. Mark Kreutzer for $10. Hey, gang. Sorry I'm late. No problem, Mark. Happy you're here. I've been busy at Avatar screenings. Yes, drudging up that week's old discourse for the bit. Sure. Stay true to the bit. And also something about starting a new job, I guess. Well, congratulations on starting the new job. That's super cool. Anyway, what have I missed? Well, both teams kind of said they didn't want to win on their first drive. We've developed a little bit.
You missed Zach Wilson being bad and Doug Peterson being a coward.
I think Doug Peterson took the honorable choice for a field goal.
Oh, Evan Ingram, legacy game. Here we go.
Yeah.
That was actually a really nice ball from Trevor as he broke out to still put it on his inside shoulder to not turn him into contact and get annihilated. Helped him.
Oh, this is going to be a great view. Look at this from the sky cam.
Watch this ball placement. Boom. Turn him right upfield. That's gorgeous work from Lawrence.
Yep. Ideal. And really helps. That probably gained them another 6 or 7 yards. Just the accuracy on that.
You cannot throw that better than that.
Nope.
Ooh, we getting Agnew on the rail? Nope.
Nope. And
10 carries for Etienne already, something like that.
Yeah, they're pressing the run for sure. But Jordan Whitehead's gonna be coming downhill. His over number for tackles was like 10 or 10.5 or something. That was really high. I
still would have done over on that though.
I know. I was like, I love Jordan Whitehead, but oh man, he is gonna have a busy night and he is gonna make a lot of tackles. But it's the question of does he get 11? And I'm like, well, maybe not.
First time Ingram didn't drop a pass in MetLife. The Giants fans are
salty Giants fans. Is there any other kind?
Nope. They live on hatred. Etienne in the flat, Trev.
Trevor.
Oh God.
Shredding. He's shredding. This was the thing is the 2 Trevor numbers I had. Well, I've got the over 33.5 pass attempts, but I looked very strongly at his yardage as well. And again, you're looking at a Jets defense that gives up about 180 to opposing quarterbacks on average this year. And his over number was like 210. This was like 30 yards more. And I was still like, maybe you lean the over because Trevor's been so crazy hot. I think he's that guy that just walks into a bar and go, who's the toughest guy in here?
And it's the ball placement on this.
Here's your rushing. Yep.
The ball placement on the second level of flood, when you have a really rangy corner like Sauce Gardner, you don't want to throw that second level on flood to the sideline. You want to leave it inside because if you throw it to the sideline, you're going to get picked off. You're really only hitting that sideline throw if A, it's not a very rangy corner, or B, they get pulled way down to the flat because they're not being disciplined. But any other time, especially against Sauce, you don't want Sauce to even have a shot at that ball. So you're going to leave it inside, have your receiver turn on the inside shoulder, and if he gets popped, at least it'll be a safe one because the safety's going to be behind him, not like, shoving him face first out of bounds. So it's going to be a safer throw from a medical standpoint, I guess you could say too. Great awareness by him to basically not even try to fit it over Sauce and just throwing it inside of Sauce instead. Huge play. Trevor's just been phenomenal since like week 10. He's hitting everything.
Yeah.
Mark, by the way, since you said you started a new job, please let me know what that new job is. I'm very curious. Hendog 1000 for $10. First day back to work after being down with the flu since Sunday. That's rough. This has actually been a really, really horrible flu season, like a historically bad flu season. So I'm sorry about that. Now I actually get to watch a stream, perhaps some Elijah Craig barrel proof, 130 proof Elijah Craig for celebration.
Yeah, golf clap.
That is a whiskey worth celebration.
Yeah, Elijah Craig 12. Nice.
I really like Elijah Craig.
I
really do.
I bet you do. I am not as wild about Elijah
It's a whiskey
Craig.
lover's whiskey.
Sure. I think it's very good. Like let's not mince too many words about it. It's not my favorite higher end. What did JB have on the pod last night? Oh, he had 1792, not the small batch, but the barrel. No, bottled and bond. The 1792 bottled and bond.
I just picked up a barrel pick of 1792 last week that I have yet to crack open.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Good solid stuff. And aside, while we're on ads for the broadcast, the bearded guy with the hat on the sideline that looked a little bit like Santa Claus dressed in green is the Jets defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich. And older viewers of the pod will remember him as a very hard-hitting 49ers linebacker. But that he stayed with the organization and came up, and that's where he met Robert Saleh and, defensive coach, a linebackers coach, and then defensive coach. Now he's a defensive coordinator. So really throwback dude on the field, like was an absolute, that guy could close off a gap as an inside linebacker for sure. And, now he looks like a green Santa Claus, but his defense has been crushing this year. Joe Douglas gave him all the toys and he has got them playing together. It is by no means the island of misfit toys. It's whatever the opposite of that is.
I have heard him described as a Saleh in waiting. So we'll see. Maybe not necessarily like the jump on the scene like
I was gonna say
like Ben
that.
Johnson. But I wouldn't be surprised in a couple years or sooner if he starts getting calls just to interview.
Yeah, I would not be at all surprised after this year's performance. Feels to me like he might have a, not in personality or even in results, but he might have a Mike Zimmer-like path to a head coaching shot, which is just doesn't get it for a while because he's defensive. He's not super loud. He's not a real animated guy.
He's focused on his job.
Yeah, he's very good at what he does, but he's also, at least from what I understand, I've never met him. He is no nonsense, and Mike Zimmer was thought to be very no nonsense, so no nonsense for a while that they thought he'll never conform to being a head coach. Because look, there's sometimes you just have to not say what you're thinking when you're a head coach, and Mike Zimmer was never not going to do that. So. A long time until he got his head coaching shot. Well after league accolades came his way as a very, very good football coach, which he is. So yeah, Ulbrich could be on a somewhat similar path, even though for somewhat slightly different reasons. Holy cow! Ooh, 68. Yikes!
Yeah,
Mike
Remmers?
No, 68 says Sheriff there. Why does it say? Oh, I'm on the wrong. Wrong roster.
I was like, I didn't know that he was on that team.
He's on the other team. 68 right guard Brandon Sheriff. He got.
Well, I mean, this Jets interior rush is
he got
possibly the best in the league.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he got turnstiled, and that is a very good guard that they paid a lot of money for. Yeah. Whew. Put him on skates.
All right, 2nd and 6. Let's see what Doug Peterson has here for us. It's the middle of the red zone. I'd imagine we're getting some kind of man call here. Looks like we are. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Got him in space. They want to get Etienne in space, and with good reason, because We talked about it on the podcast this week. His burst is coming back after that foot injury. Sorry, after that foot injury.
You okay?
No.
So that was really, really interesting how they released the left tackle. So they didn't even block the end. They released the left tackle up to the second level because they're anticipating that backside defensive end is going to be flowing with the action, and then you kind of counter pitch it out the other way. So you're blocking somebody without blocking somebody. And when you can get Etienne in space without having to block somebody, it's usually a good recipe. So
is that Whitehead that they just took to the sidelines?
Who was holding his wrist? I think it was.
Yeah. I think it was because Tony Adams came in as his replacement.
Usually when they're holding the wrist like that, that's not good.
No, and Whitehead just has so much contact in his game. He is a hitter. He's a guy that will come downhill, run into an offensive lineman full speed to plug a gap. Like, he's not afraid to do that, but it takes a toll.
EJ, not to alarm you, we got damn near 2,000 people in here right now.
I'm not alarmed. I'm not alarmed. Come on, it's the only game in town. It's freezing.
I know, but
everywhere.
out of all the games, I was like, to set a viewership record this season on Jags Jets was not what I anticipated. But here we are.
Well, here we are, and it feels like we'll have to break something out for the second half. I drank coffee in the first half, so that little hiccup was me not quite keeping the coffee and pizza where it belonged and catching the back of my throat.
I got a couple. Wait, there we go. Couple options here for us, so we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what we got.
Well, for you, I don't think you're airmailing me any of that.
All right. First and goal, inside the 5.
Okay, mine says that 535 people are watching, which seems a bit more normal, but you might have more advanced numbers than I do.
Oh, it just went down. Okay,
see?
So YouTube,
it's because I burped.
YouTube lied to me.
Yeah, that's okay. I was like, yeah, I saw.
I think YouTube added a 0 or something.
Yeah, they're like, let's see if they notice 5,300 people. Whoa. We will eventually reach those numbers, but only when Tom Grossi sends his posse our way, and the Grossi posse shows up and inflates our numbers just momentarily.
Oh, his charity stream last Saturday was
tremendous. He crushed it. Yeah, over $60,000 in 9 hours. So incredible. Tom's doing great work. Shout out to Tom Grossi, Packers fan and all, but stand-up guy.
Looks like somebody's down for the Jags. I hope that's not Scherf. It kind of looks like either Scherf or Fortner. Neither one of those is good.
68 is Scherf.
That's not good.
Just looked him up.
He looks really in pain.
Yeah, he said that's some trouble staying healthy. Trevor is like, please no. Please no. Especially
after Cam Robinson last week.
I was going to say,
sure,
this is the thing, is that you're looking at, two of the guys that you spent the most money on in the offseason. Cam Robinson re-upped, really so that they could go out and get Trayvon Walker. And then they brought in Sheriff as one of those extremely high-priced free agents because they were not willing to have Trevor playing behind a leaky line in year 2. You're looking at, within a 2-week period, losing both of those guys for some amount of time. That Trevor should be worried. That's a huge downgrade, probably in both instances. Yeah. Although Walker Little, got to say, at least in the run blocking downs early on, was more than holding his own.
Walker Little was a very talented prospect,
for sure.
That his main concern was just durability. That was kind of the thing that was holding him back with a lot of people. But he's a very talented kid, so that necessarily didn't surprise me that much.
Yep.
Andre for $5. If it ain't worth much because it ain't worth much because of where I live, but thanks for making me better understanding football. Cheers from Brazil. Appreciate you being here with us, Andre. Really do. Especially, God, it's got to be pretty late for you. Well, depending on what part of Brazil you're in. Brazil goes pretty far east, so let me know what part. But if you're in the eastern part of Brazil, it is fairly late for you. And meanwhile, all the Europeans are like, fuck you, Brett. It's like 4 a.m.
Right? Oh.
Jared for $2. Skycam makes that sack hurt even more. Ouch. Shot of the week. I think that's referring to the one that Zach took earlier.
It was. Yeah. It was early on. 2 a.m. here in Scotland, enjoying the time off work. Cheers, man. I hope you are. And thanks for spending it with us, right? You could be doing anything at 2 a.m. And glad you're here watching what is going to be a pretty entertaining game, no matter which way it turns out. Talked about this a little bit on the podcast this week. If you talked about this game in August, and I know, Brett, you were planning on at that time possibly being at this game, this was not a game that was really sort of a destination game because of where the teams were going to be, or so we thought. But Sheriff's walking off under his own power, but he's also limping.
Very gingerly, though.
Limping pretty heavily. I don't think we'll see him back again tonight. What happens to his leg? Oh, I don't want to watch.
Somebody fell.
I don't want to watch. Nope. I don't like watching lower legs get folded.
Yeah, that didn't look good.
No. So, but it turns out the Jags oh, there you go. Oh, it doesn't matter. Still a touchdown.
Still cleared the plane. Still a
touchdown. Yep. Great call.
Also, I love that he didn't go low. He's just like, I'm 6'6". I'm gonna jump.
I'm Superman, and my arms are really long. All I have to do is get the tip of that ball over the plane of the goal line, and that is a touchdown. I think you'll see clearly here it's that before it comes out. Oh, yeah.
When you're that long, you don't want to go into the pile. You want to go over it. So, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, Trevor, also a very good athlete.
Amazingly good athlete for how lanky he is.
Yeah.
Gage for $2 Canadian. Gun to your head, Lawrence or Herbert. I would say Herbert because he's been doing it longer, but talk to me in a couple years. It's pretty. It's already pretty close, though. Like, not gonna lie, it's pretty close.
We've got a short coming out probably tomorrow on the Bootleg channel. If you didn't know, we're doing shorts on YouTube there, and it's about Trevor, and that is exactly the comparison that I make in that short. Is he's inching closer to the Justin Herbert territory, where 2 to 3 times a week now you look at Trevor's film and go, what?
Yeah,
no. It's very close. Those two guys in particular, what they can do. I would be fascinated to see them do a little Freaky Friday switch and see Trevor go helm the Chargers for a bit and get Justin Herbert playing with all the talent on the Jags and see what happens there.
I think that's and this is a compliment to both of them. I think the results for both teams will be similar.
Yes,
I really
agree.
do. I don't think
I do not
much.
think it's one of those things where, like if you took Justin Fields and put him on a much more talented team, I think the results would look very different for both quarterbacks, whoever he was switching with and him. With Trevor and Justin right now, there would be a small amount of difference, but I bet it wouldn't be that big because they are playing at a really similar level right now. So it makes that question fascinating because I don't think there's a clear answer. But, oh, yeah, if you really know what you're talking about, you'd pick this guy.
Interesting stat there. That was the first 95-plus yard.
Yeah.
First. And he went over. Ow, God, that actually really hurts to slam your hip into
Braxton Berrios is a tough little dude, but he went diving over the bench and hit one of those helmet warmer posts and got hung up in it.
And those are solid. Those are solid.
Yeah, it didn't move.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Quinnen could move one, but Braxton Berrios isn't moving any of them.
That was the first 95-plus yard Jaguars touchdown drive since 2018.
And, another guy down.
That's Berrios.
Yeah. I'm just like, how many guys have we seen slow to get up, limping to the sidelines already, and we're barely into the second quarter here?
A, it's MetLife, and B, it's cold.
MetLife and C, it's week 16, right? It's a long season and things add up. It gets cold, it gets late, get towards the playoffs, people hitting each other. Is that Garrett Wilson limping? Please tell me that's not.
I think he's just jogging.
I hope he's just jogging. He hasn't.
Dude, if Garrett's out, I mean, God, just end me there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
They really can't afford to lose him too.
It's a pretty good ball from Zach. He turned. Wilson was by no means his first read, at least his third read on that play. Hits him with an accurate ball, lets him run a little bit. I don't hate that play at all. Not at all. What is this noise?
A little bit of a toss outside zone. Flag is going to bring it back.
Yeah.
Classic Shanahan staple. If you're trying to run outside zone to the wing, so they did a stack on one side, wing on the other, and they put back near the wing. But if you still want to run strong side outside zone, you gotta do like a little toss motion to get there. Shanahan fucking loves doing that because people are always leaning away from the backside. Oh, Garrett, please don't be hurt.
It's only 11 in Brazil, he says right now. So
okay, that's not horrible.
No, it's good. That's good.
I think a stunt's coming here. That 3 technique is way off. Nope, he's just lined up that
Oh
way.
my God. You found him.
It got there. It wasn't pretty, but it got there.
It got there.
Zach for $2. Watching Zach Wilson.
Wait a minute.
What?
Oh, it's Knight.
Yeah, it's Bam.
Okay. Thought it was Carter.
Watching Zach, I don't know if I should cry or laugh. Hey, the night is young. We'll see. We'll see.
If that was Carter, I would have hit the over for receiving yards.
You're not allowed to be happy, EJ. You know
It's
that.
okay. I could be happy. I'm happy for I'm happy for Bam Knight. I called Bam Knight the year before he came out. Oh no. Nope. Oh no, and he got away. It's still going to be a TFL though. That Jags defense, again, 9 tackles for loss is not normal.
Watch them set the edge here on this. If we get a good replay, you'll see. I think it was 45 on the edge. Watch him set a really hard edge.
Yeah, and then again,
the
guys rallying to the ball. They're not going to because it was a run play for a loss. That's not a thing.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot defense doesn't exist.
Yeah,
See,
Rayshon Jenkins.
My dream, by the way, is now that YouTube is doing Sunday Ticket, my dream is that they'll let us do broadcasts and we get to control which camera angle we're watching. Maybe it's a few years away, but good Lord, I would die.
That's why I sent you that thing. I was like, so YouTube is going to have NFL rights. Just saying. So Rayshon Jenkins, you specifically, because I went back through it today and reminded myself of it, said that the Jags pass defense was hot garbage. That was the quote, hot garbage. Rayshon Jenkins had like 18 tackles, 2 passes defense, 2 interceptions last week. So Rayshon might think that, like, I don't know what he's talking about. It's the rest of the secondary, Rayshon. We're not talking about you. It's okay. You can stay in class.
Usually when a corner has 18 tackles, that means something went wrong.
I'm with you, but he played his ass off last week and ended up winning the game for him. So, he's like, what are you talking about?
I remember early in the season, Shaq Griffin.
Oh,
Zach got out of it. Oh, God, and he let that one go.
Oh.
And almost got picked off.
Yeah, that's just Corey Davis playing defense at that point.
Zach, that was ill-advised. Early on in the season, Shaq Griffin, corner for the Jags, had 21 targets in one game. That tells you the state of where their secondary was at one point. Not that it's gotten terribly better since then, but
yeah. Credit to Corey Davis. Zach Wilson owes Corey Davis a steak dinner. He just kept him from having the interception. Like that clearly. And okay, now that's rain. Just to
that's rain.
Clearing up the rain snow thing.
Did I say Rayshon Jenkins was a corner or a safety? He's a safety. I think I said corner. He's a safety.
Anyways, the rush there provided the one you said Zach Wilson got out of. Roy Robertson Harris, former Bear.
Yeah, he was making plays last week, and there were Cowboys fans that were like, "What the hell is a Roy Robertson Harris?"
Dude,
that's a Roy Robertson Harris.
Roy Robertson Harris, one of those underrated sort of defensive end edge defenders, depending on where you play him. I really think he's better at defensive end just because of his physical characteristics. Really talented, athletic guy. Played at a smaller school in college. Came to the Bears, really developed, and it was just one of those. You're not going to be able to keep him. Somebody's going to see that, pay him, and look for that upside because you've gotten him to that point. Sorry to see him go. Happy to see him land with the Jaguars. He did get paid. Oh
God.
But you can see the physical talent on a rush like that against, it's a backup player, but still NFL level player, and blows right by him.
I've been to that bar. That's Rolf's.
Oh, there you go.
So that bar, It's over. If you're in Manhattan, it's just south of. No, more. Just south of Murray Hill, I think. And it's called Rolf's, and they have the Christmas decorations up for like 9 months out of the year. But it's an awesome bar. I love it in there.
That's amazing.
Juan651 for $10. As a
good.
Utah and Green Bay fan, your Clark Phillips to Jair comp a few weeks ago was so accurate. Love you guys. How could you not watch Clark Phillips and think of Jair? Like, I literally, I couldn't make any other comp other than that. They look identical. Identical. Have you got to watch him yet?
Clark?
Yeah, Clark Phillips from Utah.
Yeah, I watched him last year.
He's so fucking good.
He is really good. I don't know that I'd put him right in Jair's bucket, but then again, Jair, nice to see him make some plays over the last couple of weeks, because he is a guy that should be a top level playmaker in the NFL all the time. And again, people have a bit of a roller coaster. And he has not played well for most of the season. Like, he's played average for him for most of the season. He's gotten back to his level over the last couple of weeks, which has been really cool. But no, it is, we'll talk about comps a lot in draft season. We always do. And comps are very fraught with a lot of, what point are you comping him to that player? What is it about that player? Is it his physical makeup, his length, his athletic ability, his intuition, the way he ends up, the results, the process? Like, what is it about that player? Boy, that is some nasty weather. What is it about the player that you're comping? And you just have to be very specific about that, because you can get a lot of trouble just saying, this guy's this guy. Well, in what way and when?
Jaden asks in chat, is there any book like the Pass Coverage Glossary but for offense? If you go to, if you look up Coach Dan Casey, that's Casey, he has a couple great books that I think, anybody who loves offense should have. It's like 100 different ways to run counter. And then he has another one, it's like 100 different ways to run mesh, which are probably like two of the most common plays, period, that you're going to see. And this is like every single way to run those. Bobby Peters has written a whole bunch of different manuals for different offenses, like entire season offense manuals for like Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, I think Andy Reid at one point. So look up anything from Coach Dan Casey or Bobby Peters on Amazon.
Okay, two things. Sheriff's back in there
somehow,
and it is soaking right now. Like, anybody that's out there is like, look at the elbow guards on the offensive linemen. Those like matte sticky like elbow guards, they're all shiny. Like, it is hosing right now. Almost fumbled that ball. It's slick as snot.
You can't wear gloves in this.
They turns into goat snot.
JJ says, I think you guys missed my super chat. Please type it back into chat. Obviously, don't give us any more money. Type it back into chat. I apologize that we missed that. I'm going to go back and see if we can find this.
Oh, Trevor's just going to take off. He's going to pick this one up easy. Just coasting.
Freaking gazelle, man.
Yeah, once he gets up to speed, and he actually accelerates pretty quickly too. One of the things about his game that was really underrated is when he took off, even at Clemson, he could gouge you. He could go 25 or 30 yards pretty easily. Very good runner for his size.
He's a crazy athlete.
Yeah.
And like people,
and he's only gotten stronger too.
And he's like 240.
Well, he's now.
He's dense.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago that he's yoked now.
Yeah.
He was really kind of skinny when he came out of Clemson, and he's, strength and conditioning. Oh man.
Etienne might get like 30 carries tonight. Jesus Christ.
Dude, he has like 17 already.
I know. My slip is boned. I'm just hoping to get my money back at this point.
Yeah. How's mine doing? Pull mine up. Let's take a look.
Let me see here.
So Etienne has, with that last one, I think 15 carries. Well, 56 yards. He's cranking out 4 per carry, which against this defense is an achievement.
Yep, 15 already in the first half. Literally on pace for over 30. Your slip, you already hit Michael Carter.
The one catch for over 10 yards. Oh, look out!
Oh, Ingram. God, he's fast.
Evan Enger. Oh, look at that. He just blew through the part of the field that was painted.
So you need
What do I got? Zoom that in.
you need
All right,
2 more yards from Jermichael Hasty. You need 1 more field goal from Riley Patterson. You need 4 more catches from Garrett Wilson, and you
I
need
need Garrett to heat up a little bit.
Boatload more attempts from Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and in a monsoon, I'm not feeling great about it.
Unless we get one of our sacred bootleg TNF overtimes that we get every now and then.
The 33 number was high in terms of attempts, but it felt like he was going to have to go to it if they were going to shut the run down. And
they're not.
They've been managing. Yeah, they've been managing just enough to keep it going in a game like this. Again, 4 yards of carry. It's right at the line of like that's sustainable. If you're getting 3-6, you're going to have to do something else. But if they can keep rolling it up and Scherf can continue to play, he's a good run blocker when he's in there. They can probably do that. And again, you saw they almost fumbled the handoff. Forget passing attempts, right? When it's coming down like this, just rough weather to play football in for sure.
And here's another one. Nope, it's a screen.
That still counts.
Jacob for 50 SEK. SEK was Swedish?
Kroners?
Swedish?
Yeah.
I think it's Swedish.
I think
right?
it's Kroners. Yep.
Just handed my econ master's thesis, and it's 3 a.m. Thanks for giving me something to watch in my sleepless state, fellas. Appreciate you. Well, first of all, congratulations for handing in your
Congratulations.
thesis. That's got to
huge,
feel amazing.
Huge deal.
Yeah, that's got to be an incredible feeling. So congratulations to you, truly.
And I know what you're talking about in terms of getting done with the push to put something like that together. There is this weird lull after that where you're just wired but super tired and your brain is mush and you're just like, I need something to do, and what do I do with my hands? Yeah.
Happy TN. This is from JJ. Happy TNF, guys. I'm ready for football, mostly because with wind chill, it's minus 47 in Billings, Montana. Also, I'm dropping a Colts video tomorrow. Who would you hire as their next head coach? I'm going to break this down into pieces. Oh, Patterson, second field goal. There it is. All right, EJ's 2 for 5.
Money.
First of all, holy shit, minus 47. That's the Arctic Circle. So please stay warm. I hope your pipes are winterized. Number 2, who would you hire as the Colts' next head coach? My odds-on favorite is either DeMeco Ryans or Ben Johnson. I don't really think you could go wrong with either, to be perfectly honest.
They just cut to add with one of the little presents in the snow globe. The side of it was Tecmo Bowl.
You and your
Come on.
I know
you weren't alive yet, but it was great.
There have been some people that have built emulators inside of arcade machines for Tecmo Bowl, and I feel like that is what I need to get you for a gift when we get rich.
Meh. I mean, nostalgia games are great until you go back and play them, and then you go play whatever you're playing now, and you're like, wow, this is
and then you're playing against Bo, and you're like, fuck this.
Yeah, this is
not
way
cool.
Better, yeah. Best comment I saw on Twitter over the last week.
What's that?
They were talking about Justin Fields' runs, specifically the one from last week against the Eagles, and said the most QB Eagles play I have ever seen in real life. Because famously, Randall Cunningham didn't sell his NIL to the game. So in the game, he was QB Eagles. And man, could that guy run. It was Michael Vick before it was Michael Vick. Uh-huh. And he's like, most QB Eagles play I've ever seen in real life. And I'm like,
that's a deep cut.
Yeah, it is a deep cut, and it landed so solidly.
You got to be a certain age to get that one, though.
Certain age, and a Bears fan as well. Like it's a joke made for like 8 people, and I'm one of them. So,
Jared for $5. I love that everyone has their go-to fancy liquors. Meanwhile, my go-to party drink is equal parts Red Stag and knockoff Coca-Cola in a solo cup. Jared, we've all been there, bud. We've all been there.
We've all been there.
when I was 22, whiskey Coke. I mean, whiskey Coke is still my thing, but like
I was gonna say when you were 22.
But like that was all
How's
I
that
drank.
changed?
That was all I
Okay.
drank was whiskey Coke.
When I first started drinking mixed drinks, now we're not going to bet on what age that was, but
Let's see. Isolated Western New York, give or take
well, you
12.
keep saying Western New York, and like all my friends, like Frank and Derek and the guys who went to the game with, they're going to be like Western New York. So where I grew up is the southern tier of New York, which is South Central Upstate New York.
South Central Upstate New York.
It's literally called the southern tier, like Southern Tier Brewing.
Fancy way of saying dead ass middle of the state.
Fancy way of saying Nowheresville. Very small towns. County I grew up in was the poorest county in New York for the last 188 years. Good times.
We're number one.
Yeah, we hold the record. You'll never break it. And everybody's like, we don't want to. It's William Weber says it be cold in Idaho too. I bet it do. It is probably very, very
especially
cold.
If you're up in the.
I was gonna say
in the flat part where it's just.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right where the highway hits the border.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful country. Frozen.
Oh, Idaho's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I've always wanted
Central
to go.
Idaho. Oh, Central Idaho is some of my favorite territory in the country. The Sawtooths and the Locksaw River and yeah, beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Like, I've always had this fantasy about like just do like remote work a month here, remote work a month there, and like one of the places I would do is like just a cabin in the middle of goddamn nowhere in Idaho. As long as there's internet, I'm good.
I was gonna say, oh no,
Zach.
Wow, that's hard to. That's Roy Robertson Harris again leading that charge of white, but that's hard to even call a pass rush. That's like jailbreak plus. There are 4 guys running at full speed.
Whole line just collapsed.
This, you won't see pass rush like this very often. Like, there are 4 guys there who are all just like, give him to me. Oh, Roy Robertson Harris just wrecking things in the middle. Gets him with one arm. Now, to be fair, that one arm weighs like 35 pounds. But
well, more than that.
Yeah, probably.
More than that.
Oh, they did it again.
Knocked down the screen.
Dude, Roy Robertson Harris is taking over this game for the Jaguars. Says, how many? Can you look up live pressure numbers, or those only come after?
Yeah, actually, I can. Hold on.
If you can, I want to know how many pressures Roy Robertson Harris has, because it's at least 3, if not 4. Look at that. And it's a screen, so they're letting him through. But Nate, come on. So Nate Herberg, the right guard for the Jets. You got to do better. The chip, you got to be a little more interested, because a guy as quick as Roy Robertson Harris, who has that length, is going to get to the quarterback before he throws it.
3 so far.
Yeah.
Well, that might be 4 right there.
Yeah.
Depends on how they qualify it, but.
Yeah, for sure. Every site's going to pick those a little bit differently. For those of you asking about where we get stats, and we talked about it a little bit on the podcast this week, there was one player in particular you talking about where one site had 29 pressures, one site had 26. Usually kind of split the difference, figure it out. But tackles and pressures especially are 2 stats that it can have pretty large variances depending on who's calling it. If you're looking at the home team's stats for their players for tackles, it's usually about 15% higher than everywhere else. If they get near those guys and put a paw on them, they get half a tackle.
And pressure is kind of a subjective thing, because like some people, like it's like, oh, but he has to move the quarterback significantly off his spot and alter an arm angle, and then we consider it a hurry, or it's like, oh, we only consider hits, and people do it differently. So
very differently.
Take it with a grain of salt. Tablet Brothers for $5. If content creators will be able to stream games due to the new deal with the NFL and YouTube, what kinds of content do you think that would create? Anything. I think a massive variety of content, because I think that it's not like EJ and I are more analysis and commentary based. We try to be entertaining, but I would say we're more on the spectrum of entertainment versus education. The edutainment spectrum, or more on the educational side, I would say, depending on how many drinks we have in us. But there are people that are like like the Dude Perfect guys that do their own TNF broadcast. They're more pure on the like you don't go to them for analysis, you go to them for entertainment. So they would probably do NFL content on YouTube way differently than we would. Same with Destroying, would do it way differently. Perna, 5 Points, Urinating Tree. All of us are within the same general sports content ecosystem, but we all do way different shit. So I think it's great because truly YouTube is the one place where you can attack NFL coverage from quite literally every single angle. And I think the league really wants to embrace that. I do. It's great for us.
Dude Perfect has a live stream for games, which people do watch in droves. And B, while I haven't kept up with the Dude Perfect guys of late in the last couple of years, I was scrolling through YouTube looking for something else this week and saw that they were making announcements for a Dude Perfect theme park. There's a concept.
What?
Yeah, like $100 million Dude Perfect theme park.
With what money?
I don't know.
Unless they've made way more than I thought they did.
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't put it past them. They have a giant facility.
Yeah,
but
I did not watch the video. I did not have time to click into Dude Perfect.
It's a cool idea. I didn't realize they had that kind of money though.
Well, you never know who's backing them. Somebody said, wait, I'm from Jamestown. Who was that? I'm going to scroll back.
Jamestown, New York?
Tim Strickland. Wait, I'm from Jamestown. Yes, Jamestown. You're still about 3 hours west of where I grew up. So drive about 3 hours straight east. Just take 86.
His town had
going
5,000 people in it. Not even.
Well, that was the township was 5,500. Village was like 3,500.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was not a big place. Not a big place.
Gauge for $2. Where would you rank Jalen in your QB rankings? Which Jalen? There's a couple.
Hurts, I think.
Oh,
I think he means Hurts.
Sorry, I thought he was talking about prospects. Oh God, I mean definitely top 10, but like once you're in that area, it's so fungible.
Ooh.
Let's see. Mahomes is one.
It's continuing to pour.
I would say he like top 5. Mahomes is 1, and then 2 through 5, any order. Josh Allen, Burrow, Herbert. Shit, I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody now.
I'm not familiar with Shit's game.
I would say Jalen's at least top 7. He's in that general like Herbert tier, right? Somewhere between like 5 and 7. I think that's fair. Because the only guys definitively ahead of him to me are Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and I guess Herbert. So it's like 5 to 7, somewhere in there.
I need 2 more attempts
from
before the half clicks away. There's one. Oh, and big yards out of it too.
Huge one to Etienne. Etienne having a monster game.
Yeah, this is the Travis Etienne show on the Jaguar side for sure. He is the focus right now. But I need one more attempt after that.
Mesh rail call against man. Yep, looks like it. So they had the motion going pre-snap as a formation check just to make sure it was man. And when they tracked with the motion, Trevor knew. All right, we got him on the rail.
He's letting him go. Yep.
Yeah, we got him on the rail. That's Doug Peterson's really good at using motion just to make.
And he got out of bounds.
Easy.
I could get 2 or 3 more here. Here's one for sure.
Ooh, Trevor took a hit there.
It's okay.
Not a fun one either.
No, I don't think any hits in this particular weather are fun. Like this is the kind of thing where you bang your hand on the door coming in and it hurts for an hour.
Let's see here. All right, what are we? 3rd and
2nd 10 right now.
2nd and 10. That's right. They converted.
Okay, these stats aren't updating fast enough.
Zone structure. Okay, that was a bad ball from Trev. That one slipped a little.
That's fine.
Alvatrus for $2. Do you think Lamar plays again this season? I would imagine yes.
If he can, yes.
It does seem like the knee is taking a little bit longer to come back from than they anticipated, though. And without a long-term deal, I don't think Lamar is super incentivized to play before he is healthy. So maybe is my answer.
Yeah. If he is sound physically, he will play. If he is not, I'm with you. I don't think that he will. Boy, Travis is just whew.
He might actually have more receiving than rushing now. Because
he
had like 60-something rushing.
Which is the way they envisioned him when they drafted him, was a very Eckler-like split between rushing and receiving, being sort of can go any way, can flex based on whichever defense they're facing. He's not constrained to he needs 20 carries or he's not going to get his thing, or and other guys have been more the other way where he's a receiving back, but boy, we really don't want to give him more than 5 carries because he's not going to get a lot of it. Etienne was really thought of. In fact, they originally were like, well, did you draft him at wide receiver because you have Robinson at the running back? Is he going to replace him?
They were like, saying no. He was going to be an H-back.
Yeah, and they were like, we're just going to use him the way we want to use him, which is an equal split between rushing and receiving because he's good at both. And some of it is run replacement game, like that last little throw to the outside. Did he get it? Knees down. Did not get it. He's going to be short.
He's just short. Yeah, you're
and you,
Patterson. The one time you bet on the kicker. Oh, he missed it. Okay, you already got it. You already got it. You're good. You're good.
So, if he'd made that, I was going to rib you about betting on a kicker because I ribbed you.
That's
so
why you don't
that.
do it, EJ.
EJ, that's why you don't bet on. Wait, that's me. Telling myself off, but I already got it, so I'm off the hook on that one. No, I mean, I didn't think that. I don't mind him kicking it there, and it took a pretty good hook. I don't mind him kicking it there because look, you're just trying to get the free points. Like you started that drive deep in your own end zone with less than 2 minutes to go. You get down and take a shot. Hey, you might tack on 3, and 3 in this game looks like it's going to be a pretty big deal because it has not been a high scoring first half. So, if you hit it, great. Otherwise, you leave Zach Wilson with 25 seconds to go, 60-ish yards. He could. Is he gonna? He hasn't really shown that ability so far. So, wow.
Well, I could. I locked in for the second half slip.
Oh, already? You're learning, man.
Zach Wilson over 85.5, Lawrence over 85.5 each.
Passing yards for Trevor in the second?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have taken the Trevor one in a heartbeat, and I would have probably done the same thing I did the first half with Zach Wilson, which was stay the hell away because I just didn't really like any of the lines.
So I put $50 on it. So if I hit this, I get $150 back. So I feel pretty good about, and that's what's funny is like how we've made a lot of our money this year is on the second half slips, like covering the losses, and then when we hit big. So these second half slips have been very generous for us.
Okay, so that last little flurry with the big hit to Etienne for the Jags, and then the 2 or 3 extra pass attempts before the field goal. Lawrence currently has 16 attempts in the first half.
You're on pace.
On pace.
You're on pace.
We were at like 9 or 10, and I was like, I need 2 more. I need to get to at least 11 to be within striking distance. Otherwise, he's just not going to throw that much in the second half, and he still might not. But that last little flurry inside the final minute with 4 extra attempts brings him to 16, which, for the season, that's low for Lawrence. 16 pass attempts in the first half is low. He would typically have 2, 3, maybe even 4 more, depending on how the offense was running that week. Obviously, because of the conditions and who they're playing, I would say that's pretty good. I would say he's actually a little bit ahead of pace for what I thought for this game. But for the season, it's a little bit low.
Remember, if you guys want to, since the first half's not even over yet, Now is the time to jump on the second half slip while it's this generous. Again, it's only 85.5 is the line for both Wilson and Lawrence. So if you want to jump on that, promo code bootleg, they'll match your deposit up to $100.
Yeah, it's
if you're
basically
feeling
half
frisky.
the yards
Yeah.
that Trevor had in the first half. They're saying he's going to get in the second half. Now, even if they're up, even if they're running, look, this is only a 10-point game right now. This is not like, oh, they've got it in the bag, they're just going to run out the clock. Like that might be the case once they get to the fourth quarter, but he could still get 85 yards in the third and be right there. That feels like one of the better numbers I've seen for the
I think I
entire
caught
for the
it
entire
like
game. I think
right
you
when
did
it
too.
went up, because I guarantee you, everybody that's been if I refresh it right now, I'm curious what it is.
Well, there was a couple of you locked in for me pregame that I had done them 3 or 4 hours earlier, and they'd moved up and down because I was like, it's 10 and a
Oh,
half,
it's
and you're
still
like, no,
holding.
it's.
Still
You're like,
holding
no, it's.
85.
See if you can move the line, bootleggers. See if you can drop enough money on Trevor over 85 and a half in the second half that they have to up it.
Like Zach, I'm not surprised stayed at 85. Trevor, I thought would have been like 90 something by now.
I think if this sounds so bad, but this is where we're at. If they want that line to move, they should lower it a little bit.
For Zach?
Yeah.
It's like 70.
Yeah, 75, 70.
But I think it's
75.
not moving because a lot of people are taking the under.
Yeah.
Like, as sad as that is.
The money. Yeah, either way. If they wanted to make it a more challenging line, I would say drop it a little bit to be
Because right
more
now
effective.
he has 78.
Exactly. And if you
So-
look at what he's done throughout the season in terms of yardage totals, he's had 2 games over 300. He had a 355 versus the Patriots, which is crazy. And then the 317 versus Detroit last week, which is really impressive. And this is why. If somebody catches that, besides.
Yeah. Desperation pick.
Anyway.
Desperation pick.
I'm not
We're
worried
padding
about that.
Oh, God. Are they trying to return this shit?
No, they're down. So here's the yardage totals for Zach Wilson for the year. He has those 2 games over 300, which are obviously the outstanding ones. The first week against Pittsburgh, Zach's getting it, 252. They're giving him a penalty on that? Tell me no. Is that what they're showing?
For
there?
what? Roughing the passer?
I'm just wondering. No, it's over. It couldn't
Okay.
end on a defensive penalty. All right. So he's got the 300 yards. He's got that 252. We know week 1, weird things happen. Other than those 3 games for Zach Wilson, game totals for passing yardage, 210, 110, 121, 154, and 77.
Doesn't sound promising.
So if you're talking about, 85 each half, that's 170-ish yards.
Oh, I know they set that line for a reason. It's
Yeah.
more so just, I mean, God, if there was ever a secondary to get fucking 85 yards on.
I'm not saying, and look, we just saw how far he chucked it on the Hail Mary. If he connects to one of those, or he hits a 25-yard crossing out to Garrett Wilson and somebody falls down because it's wet, he can end up with 70 yards right there, one throw. Like, it's well within the capacity for him to get it. In terms of how things have worked out for him overall, it is these high variance spikes. I mean, you heard some of those numbers, talking about 110, 121. Those are full game totals, 77. These are not NFL starting level quarterback numbers, but then, there's a couple of games in there, 355, 317, 252. Okay. All right. So you're either getting the high highs or you're getting like he passed for 120 yards for the whole game. What?
Yeah. God, I do
Use
not. I do not
necromancy to
envy.
bring back Joe Namath. Oh boy,
He's not
we're at
dead.
that point. I know. The zombified Joe Namath. If
William
we're calling
Weber.
for the zombified Joe Namath, because if you go back and look at Namath's, obviously one of the most famous quarterbacks in NFL history, but if you go back and look at Namath's passing stats, I know it was a different era, but they're not inspiring.
No. William Weber for $5. Topical, by the way. Zach Wilson stinks. I'm pronouncing it the way he said it. Thanks for the stream and keeping the vibes high and tight. William, if you're a Jets fan, hats off to you, sir, for sticking this one out, because it's tough to keep the vibes high on a night like this, not going to lie. Just pray for Mike White's ribs. That's all I can say. Pray for Mike White's ribs.
Oh, my God.
Etienne Leroll? Hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
I would say Gation.
Gation? Oh, yeah. That sounds obvious to me now. Gation Leroll, $5. Thank you, Gation. Happy holidays from New Jersey. Brett, where are you originally from, and are you spending time with family for the holidays? I hope you do. You work hard. I am originally from sunny Southern California, which I still live here. And yes, I am spending time with, my wife's family for the holidays. My family went up to Northern California to visit my grandparents. So I'm spending the holidays with the in-laws this year, which I'm normally over there for Christmas Day anyway. So fairly normal for Christmas for me. And it's a fun time had by all. We do this big-ass prime rib, a whole bunch of potatoes. We eat like crazy. We watch It's a Wonderful Life, very normal Christmas traditions. It's a fun day. And I hope you spend time with yourself, or with your own family, Gation. I mean, also with yourself too, but Yash for $5. Happy holidays. Just turned 21, but Prize Picks is not available in my state. Will live vicariously through your bets. Yeah, so the state by state thing of like some states allow betting and some allow fantasy and some allow fantasy and don't allow betting. Some allow both. Some allow none. We need everybody to get on the same fucking page here on a national level, because it is so frustrating. And a lot of people literally will just drive across state lines, especially on the East Coast where everything's so close together. They'll just drive across state lines to play. But myself, in California, our closest state is like 5 hours away. So for online sports betting, we don't really have that option. So I feel you. And hopefully at some point, maybe we'll get like a federal law or something. I don't know, but it's frustrating until then. And EJ, God, I don't know when Washington's going to be legal.
Well, we're legal for some things. Oh man, they just showed that opening sack again. That was so rugged. We can now do sports betting in casinos, which is we couldn't even do that before beginning of last year. So it's moving. But in terms of when I'll be able to sit right here in this very room and put in, daily fantasy bets on things like Prize Picks, don't know when that's going to happen. Do I think it will happen eventually? I absolutely do. My state and your state will probably figure out eventually, we'd like some of that tax revenue, please. There's a lot of money there, and that's when it'll occur. It will happen. We'll see it. It could take a while. I hope not, because it makes it really inconvenient for me. But I do understand. Different states, different strokes.
See if I can catch up here. Autumn for $2. Leaf wants the Jets to lose because they're goofy. Who's Leaf?
Okay. I don't know who Leaf is.
I think I missed something in chat.
The Jets are definitely goofy.
Goofy is the nicest possible way Autumn could phrase that.
You're
nicer than me, Autumn.
I think that is the thing. You know what I love about the halftime show right now? Ryan Fitzpatrick, who famously went and sat in the stands at Highmark Stadium, the Bills Stadium, shirtless for one of their playoff games, has his sleeves rolled up on the sweater right now while like Rich Sherman and Whitworth, everybody else is like sure is bundled. Right, Tony's all bundled up, and Brian Fitzpatrick's like, "Let's go! It's not even that chilly, and you're making me keep the sweater on." So, yeah,
he lived in Buffalo for half a decade. This is literally nothing.
And he's played quarterback for
everybody.
Gestures wildly at all teams. But he's like, "Come on! I went to school in the Northeast, like played for a bunch of these. Like, this is nothing. This is fine. It's still raining. It's not even solid yet. Like, come on, let's go."
Logan Skinner for $10. Who do you guys have winning the regular season awards this year? Mahomes MVP. I would say Jalen Hurts, Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa. Coach of the Year, undecided for me. I am between Sirianni, Dable, and Dan Campbell. Defensive rookie of the year, at this point, probably Sauce, I would say. Like Tariq is obviously phenomenal, but I would still lean Sauce. Offensive rookie of the year, I'll tell you what, EJ, if the Niners keep winning, like Dameon Pierce has been really good. Like there's honestly some young running backs that I really, really like, but none are having like a dominating year. Yep. Some young receivers I really, really like, but none are having like a Jamar Chase type year. I would not be surprised if Brock Purdy, if they keep winning, if Brock Purdy gets rookie of the year. Like it's not that far-fetched.
That would be a crazy story, but it has to do with opportunity and production. And obviously, if Brock Purdy keeps starting and the 49ers keep winning, the production is going to ramp up very, very quickly, whereas most of the rest of the rookies, like Garrett Wilson, who's in this game, have had good years, but nobody, like you said, has having that dominant top of the standings. Jamar Chase, I'm leading all the categories. You need to consider me for, MVP or offensive player of the year, not just rookie of the year. So Purdy could come steal it, which, again, a month ago, unfathomable. Now he's still got to steal it, but he might. And that would be ridiculous.
If it's not Purdy, then it will be either Wilson or Chris Olave. But considering the quarterback bias that voters have, it's really not as far-fetched as you think. It's really, really not.
Yeah. In terms of, so Olave almost certainly is going to break 1,000 yards. He has 63 receptions for 940, averaging just about 15 a catch. He only has 3 touchdowns. But rookie receivers over 1,000 is certainly a thing, and has not had the most stable quarterbacking in New Orleans, or the best for that matter. Working hard, but this has a lot to do with teams that have a lot of exposure, have a lot of primetime games. The Saints have not. Also has a bias to teams that have a lot of success, which is why you saw 8 Eagles make it to the Pro Bowl, and quite frankly, they could have had 2 to 3 more without breaking a sweat. This is what happens. And so Olave is kind of doing this in silence down in New Orleans. Not a lot of people talking about it, but having definitely one of the best years of one of the rookie receivers. But boy, Purdy and bright lights leading a team, say, into the conference championships.
Yeah, it's not unfathomable.
He'd be pulling a lot of votes.
Also, I distinctly remember all the Wilson versus Olave debates we had, and they are literally number 1 and number 2 in every single category, and they're right next to each other. So
yeah,
maybe it ended up not mattering.
Yeah, 67 for 966, 14-4. Very similar. 4 TDs, 1 more than Olave for Garrett Wilson. So literally, I think it was 960 and 966, 60 receptions and 67, 3 TDs and 4, both averaging within 14 point something yards per catch. So you're talking about maybe 2 different ways to get there, but the eggs couldn't have closer set of results for 2 rookie receivers.
Hashka Bashka for $5. You guys, I know it's early, but what's New England's draft outlook? Also, there are Madden players better at play calling than Matt Patricia.
I was going to say, can they draft an OC?
That's the most important
and I don't mean
part.
Offensive center.
That's the most important part. They need an actual play caller. Other than that, I would like to see them invest at receiver, but I also have zero faith in them to draft the correct one because they never do. So, I mean, if Jordan Addison is there, I wouldn't hate that. The TCU kid that I'm a big fan of would love that. Honestly, there's actually a whole bunch of tight ends in this class that I'm very intrigued by as well, even though tight end might not be a sexy pick. I'm not super enthusiastic about their tight ends. I know they spent a whole lot of money on them a couple of years ago, but I could take it or leave it with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith right now. Offensive line I think is fine. Quarterback I think is fine. Running back is obviously fantastic, but I would like to see more investment than they already have made at receiver and tight end, and I'm talking like significant investment. Even if they don't trust themselves to draft it, if they give up a first-round pick and trade for T. Higgins or, one of the other receivers that's due for a big deal. I wouldn't hate that either, but they'll have to fight Chicago for it, who has more money and even more willingness to give up assets. But yeah, if they don't draft one of these kids, giving up a pick for T. Higgins would be the way to go.
Okay, I'm gonna spin your head a little bit. I know there is a serious quote unquote, and I hate this term, skill position bias for postseason awards.
Mm-hmm.
2 alternates for offensive rookie of the year.
Okay.
Icky.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And Tyler Linderbaum.
Also a totally valid one. Yeah.
Won't win it because we're talking about a tackle and a center.
But if we're talking about
Panthers,
best players,
Panthers and Ravens, but if you're talking about the season that they've had, those guys have to be in the conversation. I get it that if your argument is, Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave has done more. Dameon Pierce I think those are the big 3. Purdy's this crazy outlier dark horse that could thrust himself into that spotlight. But you have to consider the big guys for the offensive rookie of the year as well. And that's Ike Ekwonu, Tyler Linderbaum.
Also, comeback player of the year, Geno Smith. And that's not even a debate to me.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Logan, we did a whole show on it at the end of our wrap-up series where we predicted before the season kicked off all of our season-long awards that we thought. Obviously, like the second half bets, we would be making some adjustments and making some different calls now. But you can go back and check that out. It's on the channel under the main uploads, and you see how close or far off we were with as wild as this NFL season has been.
All right, Zach Wilson out here.
Oh boy.
Trying to see if we can get over 85.5.
Did you see what they did?
Define
first play on defense, Jags.
Oh, blitz, yeah.
Well, they didn't. They just they shifted from two high to a single high. They ran Cisco down at the last minute to just sit on the tight end and basically squeeze Zach's head.
Oh, I thought they brought 5. I was half glancing.
Oh, they may have brought 5 on the blitz, but they also dropped Cisco late, down right on top, 7 yards deep, and he sat on the tight end route to just say, "No, Zach, you got to go somewhere else." Oh, wow, nice big hit. Collision. Yeah, Aluakun. Boy, yay. How many tackles does he have? I think his over-under for tackles in this game was 10.5, and I was like, man, he's a great player, but that just feels high.
Like a trap.
Yeah, 10.5 means he has to have 11 tackles. Just could go another way.
First half possessions, yards gained, -3, 28, 23, -3, -1. Yikes.
Oh, thank you.
All right, third and 1. FIB again. Oh, we're going 4 strong to the boundary. No, they're motioning out of it. Okay.
Oh. Wow. I have lived through the Zach Wilson experience, although it was a different quarterback.
And I'm not enjoying it.
It was Mitch Trubisky. And there's a lot of the high highs, like Trubisky. People, Trubisky was always terrible. No, go watch any of the games against Detroit. He would light them up for some of those 300-yard numbers that I mentioned for Zach Wilson. Like, that was Detroit games for Trubisky. And then there would be the inconsistent weeks, and he would have, 40 passes for 160 yards. You're just like,
I would like to see a replay of that ball because I want to see how much it missed by. It seemed like a lot.
Yeah, but that could be TV angle, absolutely.
Oh, did they false start?
They did have one of the most telling numbers. So people might think, you just do the Prize Pick lines because you're sponsored by Prize Picks. So that's one of the reasons we do it, for sure. Thanks very much to Prize Picks for making all this possible. It also helps me do research for the game. It drives me into some of the corners of these teams' games that I wouldn't go to, i.e. the punting numbers for both teams. So tellingly enough, the punting number for the Jags, I think, was 4.5. The punting number for the Jets was like 8.5.
And I think we're already on pace to shatter that by the end of this quarter.
Right. When you see a team that is, if you're going to win money on their punting, they have to have 9 drives end in punts. That's a thing. That is the odds makers saying, we really don't believe in something about this offense. And with the Jets offense, we've talked about it. That something is Zach Wilson. And, it would be fascinating to me to insert a healthy Mike White and see what the punting number over underline goes down to.
At least 3 more successful drives.
Hey, 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. 4.5 maybe.
JJ for $5. The water pipes at my place are good. My girlfriend on hand had her washer freeze and blanket freeze inside of it.
That's fun times.
That's
right
just
there.
a
That's
rock at that point, dude.
Yep. We did this too. Reminds me. Oh, Etienne with a great cut back. That's just him getting to the outside and going, you know what? There's more space to the inside, and I have the ability to make those cuts at speed that we talked about. What was that, like a month ago on the podcast?
Yeah.
And just ripping off another 3-4 yards because he has that ability to completely stop his momentum, go the other way pretty quickly. The prank we pulled on a college roommate was, and this is not anything new or creative, take their underwear, clean underwear, and just soak them down. Just put them on like a board and soak them down. And then for us, a dryer was, I think, 2 quarters to run the dryer, and take 2 quarters and then just put them on top and put it in the freezer.
That's good. That's good.
Yep. And, college kids, they don't really care about those college dryers. So they just chip the quarters off and throw the whole block in there. And it just goes ka-kong, like a cinder block. It's nasty stuff. A blanket got to weigh 40 pounds frozen.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, it's just a block.
All right, 3rd and 1 here. All right, are we going to get our hasty over? No, we're going to sneak.
I thought you said hasty already hit. All right, pull up my slip again for first half. We know what you did for second, and we also know your first half is kind of crushed.
Well, not entirely.
Not entirely.
So yours, you hit Riley Patterson, and you hit Michael Carter. You're still hoping for 3 more yards from Hasty, and you need a few more receptions from Wilson.
Oh, could be right here.
And
could be right here.
16 or 17 more attempts from Trevor.
There it is. Chance. You got it.
There you go. That's probably it. Yep. Oh, that's definitely it. That's definitely it.
All right. Just hit Hasty.
All right.
So we
remember,
got
if EJ hits on this slip, we get $1,000 here.
Yeah. So we got Hasty. We got Carter. We got Riley Patterson. Garrett's got to turn it up. He's got 1 catch, which means Zach has to turn it up, this is what's hurting my heart about this. And Trevor is literally on pace. They've got him at 11 attempts.
16.
No, that's you're looking at completions.
Yeah.
So mine was attempts. It was 32. And they've got him right there, right in the middle. He's on pace. So just got to throw it a couple more times. All right. Hasty's going to click in green here, and then we just need Zach to couple more to Garrett. And look, in garbage time, that's where I'm looking for that to happen.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have to heave it up, and Garrett is their best option to get open right now. There's another attempt.
Yeah, we'll take whatever we can get.
And look, Jacksonville is trying to replicate the run game by getting those quick pass attempts out there, because the front 4, or quite frankly, the front 6, when you're talking about the rotational guys for the Jets, are incredibly stout. Like, they have a lot of guys up front that we really like, including Michael Clemens, who they drafted out of Texas A&M, who's a stout guy on the end for them. Quinnen, of course, is massacring. They had 11 sacks this year, leading all defensive tackles. So the Jags are like, nope, we don't want to run into the cinder block wall. We're going to whip it out there 12, 13 yards and try and get around the edge and take our chances with the cornerbacks and the safeties coming downhill.
Let's see here. Oh, we took a little break. Okay.
Oh, $5 from Gage Camplin. You are starting a franchise. Who do you take, Jackson or Hurts?
Lamar Jackson, I assume?
Yeah, I believe Lamar.
I take Lamar. I mean, it's close.
Oh, boy, look out.
But Lamar is more proven at this point.
Lamar is more proven, but if you're starting a franchise, you got to think the franchise isn't going to be very good for a couple of years.
Yeah.
2 to 3 years. And Jalen is younger than Lamar.
Somebody in chat asked, what's my favorite fire zone pressure? That's what I was looking for. It looks like this. Hold on. This is Kirby Smart's playbook. So this is heads, mix, Oscar, and each of these words means something different. But this is from Kirby's. Let me try to tilt it this way. There we go. And so it's basically you get the defensive tackle will loop around and he's contained, and then the edge is contained, and then generally what we're trying to do is overload the center and try to make him choose and then choose wrong. But this is my favorite one because it's like a lot of people just call it cross dog, but it's my favorite one just because when it hits huge, and usually it involves a quarterback getting absolutely blasted.
Oh man, the calls. You know who the most famous person on this podcast / live stream is?
Who?
The whiteboard.
Oh, for sure.
We're getting calls for the whiteboard. Whiteboard.
I've been waiting for something that makes me want to
whiteboard it up,
but Jets ain't doing shit, and the Jags are just running.
I think now this would be a tremendous ode to Coach Mike Leach. I think you should whiteboard what the weather pattern over New York looks like right now.
It's just death. Just death.
He did a great thing where he stood in for the weather anchor, whatever town he was in. He's like, my favorite weather is when it rains mud. That's when the dust is up in the air and the water comes down and it rains mud. But weather, what do I know? I'm a football coach. Like,
that's such a Texas thing too. Like that should probably happen in Lubbock all the time.
And such a Mike Leach thing. I'm a football coach. What the hell do I know about weather? I don't know what I'm doing here. Like he was very upfront. All the stories from folks about Coach Leach that had nothing to do with football, which is really part of his legacy, were amazing. Chris Long was talking about the fact that he and Danny Amendola were teammates, New England, and they would go to music festivals. They'd be all drunk in the middle of the night, and Danny Amendola, connections to Coach Leach, and they would call him at like 1 a.m. with all kinds of drunk nonsense. And he'd stay on the phone for like an hour talking to them, just like having a conversation. Like, yeah. There's a classic story about Mike Leach. He was always late to meetings, so everybody's sitting around a table, and he came in and he was kind of on time, and everybody was like, amazing, and phone rings, and he takes it, and he's talking to this guy for like 45 minutes. All the coaches sitting around the table waiting for him. They hang up, and they're like, Coach, what was that about? He's like, oh, some guy, wrong number. I was just trying to help him out. Oh, man. Well, Trevor is throwing the ball all over the field here. We have like 5.
Yeah, hey, we'll take whatever attempts we get.
You know, already up to 20, and I think my site's behind updating a little bit. 21 at this point, so you know we're 11 away.
You're on pace.
Yep. This is the thing: is just heat it up and take some shots.
Jared says people drafted Zach Wilson in fantasy. LOL. Yeah, a lot of people drafted Zach Wilson in fantasy.
They looked at the rest. This is a sort of halo effect. They looked at the rest of that offense and went, how bad can it be? All he has to do is get the ball into the hands of his playmakers, right? Another attempt for Wilson. They're almost feels like a little bit of hurry up, little quick game here.
They've definitely been going quick game.
Don't let look at this. Don't let they didn't quite get it, but don't let the Jets change, right? Make them tired. Keep the linebackers out there. Make them run on pass coverage every down. Look at Mosley, man. He's got to cover a lot of ground on that play. We love CJ Mosley, but he's looking heavy-footed already. It's a cold night.
Just got here. Have we filled out the slip yet? That's from Ryan Gromeyer for $2. Yes, we have. What we did before
both first and second half.
But our second half slip, just in case you missed it, Ryan. Zach Wilson over 85.5 passing, which seems sketchy as hell now. And Trevor Lawrence over 85.5, which does not seem sketchy as hell. We are hoping and wishing on a prayer for Zach Wilson to do literally anything at this point. We'll see.
At this point, you want that. What you are hoping is that Zach Wilson hits 3 more balls to Garrett Wilson
for a lot of yards, like 30 each. 30
you
each.
You don't even need the yards.
I do. Yes, hell yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I want to win all of them.
That's cute.
Who? I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but I'd love it.
There you go. But if we hit the other one,
yeah, there you go. $1,000.
We're good.
Pays for like one night in Vegas for Shrine Bowl.
Ish.
We got to book that, by the way.
I know.
We'll get to it.
I know. I did some research.
Okay.
I did some research.
William Reed for $5. Can the Vikes be real contenders in the playoffs if they play more man and get out of the Donna Shell defense? Yes, I believe they can. It clearly helped them to limit the Colts to a whole bunch of threes instead of sixes, which I think was the main reason they were even able to come back in the first place. And, will that work against, I don't know, any other offense that isn't the Colts? Maybe, maybe not, but I think it's at least worth a try because everything they were doing leading up to that was an abject disaster. So I would like to see them mix in more man. Like, do they need to do 40% man like they did last week? No, but at least, not 11%. Get me to like 20. Be average even, and I think that could do wonders for them. But all this soft zone shit is not working.
Tell me how you really feel, Brett.
JJ for $2. As a Steelers fan, thank you, Bears, for the high 2 for Claypool. I mean, hey, they made the move because they felt like they just needed to get something, anything. So I understand.
Yeah, and they still have it too. That's the thing is it was which 2. I certainly would have rather had them give up the low 2. Apparently they offered the low 2 and were in the running. And then the, Steelers said best and final. You got to move it up if you want him. Poles wanted him enough. He has another 2. He chose to give up the Bears' own 2, which looks like it's going to be, pick like 34 right now, maybe 35. So it's a high price to pay. And at the time it came out, that's what people were worried about is the difference between the 2 they had, which was lower, and their own 2. It's hard to argue. I want to see him with a full off season with Justin. That is Chase Claypool. I want to see him with a full off season with the offense. And I also want to see him where he doesn't have to be a prime receiving threat, where he could be the second or third option behind, X receiver that is going to be added in the offseason, whether that's a free agent like T. Higgins or a high draft pick that's really going to hold that 1A alpha role. And then there'll be Mooney and Claypool in the 2 and the 3, however you want to slot them in there. That's when I want to see Chase Claypool. I think that's a fair evaluation. Pulling him in mid-season and saying, hey, you're the best thing we've got, so you're our 1A. Not really.
You're welcome for the turtle chat.
Oh, you did draw the turtle.
They
from
requested
the other camera.
They requested. I got
No, they said they must have the turtle. All right, I'm going to leave you with both the Jags and the turtle, and I'm going to refresh my drink because I did not do it at halftime. We were catching up on Super Chats.
Go for it.
But I'll be back pretty quickly.
8 out of 10 turtle. That's at least an 8.5. Come on now.
You got to hit the over.
You got to grade me on a curve here.
Yeah, exactly. He's not an art student, folks. He could be, but he's not.
I mean, as a film student, that's close, but, All right, let's see what Zach's got here. Let me go back to my coverage data. Not that it fucking matters at this point because he's not throwing against anything, but... Was it 1st and 20? Yeah, we're going to get quarters here. And took a sack on a 4-man rush. Wonderful. I think, did he hang at like a 5-yard depth in the pocket there? Rather than taking a drop back? I need to see the replay of it, see how far he dropped back. Because he was definitely in the gun. Did he just hang there at 5? No, he hung at 6. That's still a little bit shallow. He must have not trusted his tackles, so he hung in there at 6, but then the front caved in on him. That sucks. Sucks for Zach. Not necessarily his fault. Like, Pocket should give him 6 yards of space, but oh well. What can you do? Ooh, big ball. Is he going to get it? Oh, man, what a PBU. Is that Tyson Campbell, 32? Yes, it is. In my opinion, the Jags' best corner there, Tyson Campbell. First-round talent out of Georgia. I think he went round 2 to Jacksonville. I was in love with him as a prospect. Really talented kid. I think he's going to do good things for the Jags. Great job playing the ball in the air. Not a horrible decision from Wilson because he did have the other Wilson break into daylight towards the boundary. I mean, could have been a better ball, but, 60 yards in the air, can't really criticize that much. Either way, yeah, Jets fans booing like crazy. Not that I blame them. But I feel like that drive in particular was a full offensive collapse. Protection wasn't great. Obviously, you have the penalty on one. It's just bad football in general. I said this when Claypool was a Steeler. He has all the tools in the box, but doesn't know how to use them. When I saw the trade, I thought they got a 4. Yeah, Steelers fans are pretty happy about the trade, but I think part of the reason they're happy about it is because they already got Pickens, who they love. So I think situationally, like if they didn't have George Pickens waiting in the wings, maybe they wouldn't have traded him anyway. But the fact that they already have a guy who's better, I can understand why Steelers fans are feeling pretty good about it. But I also understand why Bears fans are feeling pretty good about it because you look at who else they have other than Darnell Mooney, they had nobody. And, even though the Steelers are pretty good at getting second-round receivers, most franchises aren't. And so they felt like they were getting somebody who at least had shown in the past capability of doing something. And as EJ said, they also have another 2 anyway, so they could still double dip if they want to. Was that a penalty on Jacksonville, or was it on the Jets? I didn't catch who that was. The Turtle is an 8 out of 10, but Brett, you're an 8.5 out of 10 in our hearts. I appreciate you, Jared. I appreciate you. It makes me feel better. Oh, man. I just tuned in. How badly is Zach doing? Pretty bad. Not all of it's his fault, but he's not good enough to elevate everybody else, so it just kind of compounds the bad. So it is what it is. He's not going to last with the Jets. They'll probably ship him off this offseason to, I don't know. Maybe Carolina wants another Jets quarterback. Who knows? But I don't think he's staying with the Jets. How could they at this point? Like, do you think Jets fans are going to re-up their season tickets if they do another year of Zach Wilson? No.
All right, it is clearly winter beer time.
What you got?
Almost Christmas. 20 whatever it is, 3 degrees outside. Boundary Bay Brewing from right up in Bellingham, Washington. This is their winter seasonal Cabin Fever, 8.7 by volume.
Ooh, that'll get you.
Oh yeah, you don't want to be pounding these one on top of another. But I had one left out in the garage, and guess what? Just as cold as if it was in the fridge these days. So we will be having some Cabin Fever for our second half beverage, along with a new quad to back it up. But yeah, it's interesting as we think about the Jets versus the Jaguars tonight. The Jets haven't been able to hang their hat on anything. And it's because of Zach Wilson's inability to throw the ball right now effectively. Because look at the rushing game for the Jets, which was pretty darn strong, especially when Mike White was out there. It's been decently strong all year long because they have a very good stable of backs and they've invested a lot in the offensive line. But when Mike White could hurt people, even in the short to intermediate areas consistently, they couldn't just sit 7.5 guys, 8 guys down to get the run every play.
More importantly, they couldn't run blitz because people think that blitzing is just what you do on an obvious passing situation. Right. Not necessarily. A lot of the time, like at least half the time when a coach calls fire zone, it's an early down call to fit the run and play the run aggressively. Like it's not just a pass game call. But if you don't have a quarterback that can punish nice job spinning out of that.
Wow.
Hell of a run.
Sorry.
Hell
That's
of a run.
The best 0-yard run ever.
But if you don't have a quarterback that can punish teams calling early down fire zones by, getting the ball out quick and in space and basically augmenting the run game with the short pass game, then they're just going to keep fucking doing it. And, you're going to lose. So,
yeah, chat's already on it, but do you know who that was?
Snoop Connor.
Snoop. Yeah, he did that kind of stuff in college all the time. But that was really impressive to break away from the initial hit and to stiff arm the defender on the edge. It's really good work. Really good work. Now, with that being said, just need a few more pass attempts.
Yeah, just a few.
Not that many.
There isn't enough alcohol in the state of New York to stomach the Zach Wilson experience.
There's a lot of alcohol
Jersey,
in the state of New York.
Jersey.
Yeah. So, no, there isn't. And, at the top of this broadcast, we talked about JT O'Sullivan and the QB school putting out his video about 8 to 10 hours ago at this point, saying that the Zach Wilson experiment is nearing its end in New York. And this is why, right? The NFL is a meritocracy. And if the other team is going to sit down on top of you with pretty much consistently 8 in the box and run blitzes and say, go ahead, beat us. We dare you. Even with all that talent, even with Corey Davis and Garrett Wilson and Uzama and everybody else, Mike Carter, who's a very good receiving back as a running back, even with all that talent, we're just going to say, go ahead, beat us. We're going to commit and make you throw it over the top until you keep us honest. And you can't. That's it. You're done as an offensive football team. You don't have a second hand to go to. If you can't do that, there's no balance. And they're just going to smush your run game by committing an extra guy and a half to it. That's that.
Why are ball runners allowed to stiff arm the face mask? What a loaded question. They're not, but they're not going to call it either. Because they just don't call that. Unless they grab and yank, they're not going to call it. No. It's like, do your fingers close in the face mask or not? If it's just flat, they're not going to call it. So it's like, it's a face mask, but not really,
Yeah. It is exactly the same as why are ball carriers allowed to lower their head into contact when they contact a defender.
They're not.
When defenders aren't, it's the same thing. They're not. They should be called for it. It should be a penalty on the offensive player. It is. We were trying to think of this last week. We were trying to think of an instance where that has ever been called, where we've seen it. And I think I might have seen one, and I was staggered. I was like, holy crap. Yes, that's the rule, but they never call it. And they did. So it's basically never called for all the times it happens, which is multiple times every game. They never call it.
There was a super chat that I missed. Let me see if I can find it. In the meantime, though,
the last one I've got is JJP.
Maybe I am caught up. If we missed any of your super chats, please let me know.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's one that we're down, but
yeah, all I've got is JJP's about Claypool. When he was a Steeler, he had all the tools in the box, but he doesn't know how to use them. When I saw the trade, I thought they got a 4. Yeah, well, maybe that's a number 4 wide receiver, or maybe you thought that was a number 4 pick. Either way, it's probably a little bit closer. But late arrival, where's EJ? I was just upstairs getting a fresh drink because I normally do that at halftime, but we ended up talking all the way through halftime and catching up on super chats. So took the opportunity to go get a fresh beer and reset for hopefully the end run of a successful slip.
Luis says, EJ, you said in some podcast that you design learning material. Are you an educator? Yes. No.
That's a funny question. It's a lot like why are offensive players allowed to grab the face mask? My entire, all my cousins, so my generation, my sister and all my cousins on my dad's side of the family are all teachers. Every single one of them. And I was the only one who wasn't officially a teacher, but everybody says, what do you do? It's like, well, I design instructional materials and I teach facilitators how to deliver them, and I deliver it myself. They're like, so you're doing adult learning? And I'm like, yeah. And that's eventually the professional role that I moved into.
Within a company. Yeah.
was designing adult learning materials, delivering them both remotely and in person, and then coaching people who both design those materials and delivered them. So hiring facilitators and getting them up to speed and helping them get better at their jobs. There's Cisco and Lloyd with a hit, so they both get a half for that, I guess.
Is that
maybe
Streveler? Oh, that is Streveler.
Wow.
Wilson got benched.
Wow. I'm going to stop talking about what I used to do and go, wow.
Huh. Okay, then. Well, I think officially we can call it the Zach Wilson era in New York is over.
You can't get
official.
Benched healthy for Chris Streveler with Zach Wilson's pedigree and like come back from that. If he's not hurt and they don't say he had some injury, there isn't a way back.
No, you can't come back from that.
No. So no offense to Chris Streveler, his ability, his family who might reach out to us. We're not talking about Chris's abilities here. What we're saying is with Chris's pedigree and Zach's pedigree, if you get benched one for the other without some other mitigating factor, injury, whatever else, yes, this is a sign that the New York Jets are out on Zach Wilson as his ability as a quarterback. His team knows it at this point. You cannot come back to all those offensive players, linemen, skill position, a whole bit, and say, "Oh yeah, no, Zach's better. Give him all your support this time."
Yeah,
like they're out of chips for that. Yeah.
Also,
Zach
my second half slip is fuck now.
Yeah, no, you're toast on those. The one hope is that Trevor gets a few more, and that Streveler hits Garrett Wilson. That's Uzama though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Uzama.
Yeah, I think that's Uzama's over right there, because Uzama's over was like
11 yards or
11 or 19 or something. He needed one of those, and Streveler comes in and within 3 plays he hits it. So there's the difference right there. Same exact players for the Jets offense minus the quarterback, and it's a busted coverage by the Jaguars, and Streveler's smart enough to see it. He's got time. He boots out. It's not a great throw. He takes Uzama off his feet, but he gets it there. They get the yards. That's the difference.
They'll just take a completion at this point.
And guess what happens? The running game lights up, because they're like, whoa. He's completed 2 passes in a row. We might have to play pass. And then they run it.
I think it's coming back.
And they've got some space to do it. You can't blame that on Streveler or the run guy. That's a hold. Like, okay, I get
Dwayne
it.
Brown.
Oh, Robert Saleh looks pissed. He's like, come on. Streveler comes in, gives a spark, 2 completions, a first down, second first down, and you get a holding penalty.
Let me see this hold. I got
Oh, yeah, he got him.
Oh, yeah.
Cisco, he turned him around.
Well, he got up
underneath
on
the pads.
on the outside. That's what got him.
Underneath the pads and turned him around.
All right, first and 19.
Boy. Zach,
this kind of situation felt insurmountable with Wilson, but with Streveler, let's see what we got.
Okay, that's not going to go anywhere. That's not pretty.
Okay, well, I just hate that offensive call, period.
No, it's not a great offensive call, but it's not going anywhere either. Yeah. Wow. We're going to remember this one, fans. If you were here for this, the night that Zach Wilson got benched, healthy, as far as we know, for Chris Streveler, that second overall, or the second quarterback picked in that draft, just hit the end of his rope with his first team.
Hasn't he lost his job to like 3 different quarterbacks now?
Yes. Oh, look at Streveler.
Wow, he can run. Holy shit.
No, Streveler is fun.
Whoa, I didn't know he had that kind of pop in him.
Did you watch the second and third preseason games for the Jets this year?
No.
Streveler went off.
God damn, he can run.
No, Streveler literally. I'm going to look it up just for fun, since that's what we're talking about right now. And
what's his RAS?
I don't know if he had one, because he was a small school guy. I don't know if he tested fully. So I don't know if he qualified. But I'm going to go back to the preseason, because the Jets' last 2 preseason games.
At his pro day, he ran a 4.45, 38.5-inch vert, 10.5 in the broad.
Okay, so this is the game against the Giants. The Jets won this game 31-27. It's the NFL preseason game. It was the August 28th game. Streveler, 10 for 13 for 96, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. Now, I saw that game, and that's legit. That's not a bunch of garbage. Like, yes, it's against players that many of whom are not still in the Giants, but like that game, he was making things work. And let me find the other one from preseason. Jets. Was it the Falcons game? Yeah, Falcons game. 8 for 11, 119, touchdown and a pick.
I mean, efficiency.
Well, 8 for 11 for 120. I mean, figure it's 16 for 240.
10 yards. Yeah, okay, 10 yards per attempt. Yeah.
Figure it's like 16 for 240. Like, you'd be perfectly happy with 16 completions for 240.
Yeah.
Like, he showed it. You know, Mike White was 12 for 17 for 90 in that game. Streveler comes in, he's 8 for 11 for 119. 4 less completions and 40 more yards. So, like, Streveler showed pop in the preseason, which is why he's on this roster. You know, they can bang him back and forth between the practice squad. With practice squad eligibility being expanded, he's got some more time to sit down there. But he's a valuable guy. They didn't want to let him go. And here, and he's also the kind of guy that's not going to be like, well, I'm sorry I had to take Zach's job. He's like, they gave me a shot. They handed me the ball. I did what I could with it. Like, that's his MO. And
I don't think anybody in that locker room is apologizing for taking Zach Wilson's job at this point.
No.
Let's be real.
Fitzy. Marion Central Catholic High School.
So Fitzy says, were there any red flags on Zach Wilson's personality coming out of college? It's crazy how quickly he spiraled his way into a Johnny Manziel 2.0. By the way, cheers for Justin New York Jets. Bear down. Cheers to you, Fitzy, of course. Bear down. Personality red flags with Wilson. It's so subjective. I never heard anything about him being a bad kid. You know, people had these preconceived notions about him because his, like, uncle founded JetBlue and is, like, a fucking billionaire. And so, you know, he grew up in a well-off family in Utah and went to BYU. And, like, people had these preconceived notions because he looks like a Disney Channel character and came from a family with money. I never heard anything about him being a bad kid, and like all of his teammates at BYU and his coaches stood up for him and said he was a great leader. So I don't know if I buy the personality thing. I buy that he's just not a very good quarterback, which, you know, is kind of the more important thing here.
Look at that zone read, tough run for 8 yards.
Yeah. I like it.
One thing he's got going for him, Streveler, this weather is not phasing him at all because the majority of his college career. So he started at Minnesota and then he transferred to the University of South Dakota, not South Dakota State, not Pierre's
the Jackrabbits,
territory.
yeah,
not the Jackrabbits, the Coyotes, strangely enough. And with the Coyotes, threw for 6,000 yards and 54 touchdowns.
In how many years? Probably 2. Yeah. If you say 1, I'm going to lose my mind.
No, I don't believe it was 1.
God, they are running him like crazy.
Yeah, and then so he went undrafted, 2018 NFL draft. He goes to the CFL and wins the Grey Cup with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
How about that?
So again, Minnesota, Winnipeg, of all places, in South Dakota. This is nothing. He's in short sleeves for a reason. He's like, this is toasty. We're good.
What a story.
If you could pick for the Bears, Anderson or Carter, yes. I don't care. They're both exceptional players.
I don't even think it matters.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Flip a coin.
They need both. Their need is very high at both positions, really, edge and everything defensive tackle. Either of them would make the Bears measurably better. Was that a no look that he hit Corey Davis with right in the gut and Davis dropped it?
I don't know if it was a no look, but Davis definitely got hit in the gut and should not have dropped it. That part.
Look at his head. Okay, when you watch the all-22 on that play, look at his head. He was looking at the flat and he threw it to Davis. He Here and here.
4th and 4, and we're going for it. They're not sure how many others. I think he got it.
And they're going to give it to him. Guess who that's to? Guess who that's to?
2 more catches, EJ. 2 more catches.
And we might get it now because of Chris Streveler. The NFL is the funniest place going, man. It is the funniest place going.
That's a good catch.
Oh, man. Ty Johnson. We called out Ty Johnson last year, and then he went tearing off, and a bunch of bootleg listeners, I think it was 2 weeks ago during the Jets game, were like, hey, Ty Johnson, I know about this guy because of bootleg. I was like, yeah, Ty Johnson. We called him out.
I know about Ty Johnson because, God, who was it? They beat some elite team out of fucking nowhere last year. I think it was the Rams, actually. They beat the Rams last year out of nowhere because of Ty Johnson ripping them up out of the backfield.
Yeah, Ty Johnson, end of last year. We called out Ty Johnson as one of those late season, like, hey, you're not watching this guy because his team's not doing really well, but like he's a 3rd string running back and he is running like a starter. His name's Ty Johnson.
Pyro the Enigma for $5. I love how y'all reference and pay homage to other fellow YouTubers like Tom Grassi, Perna, Destroying, JT. I mean, it's
100%.
It's an ecosystem, you know, and a rising tide lifts all boats. I do not see any other sports YouTuber as competition or anything like that. Like we are all in this thing together, to be honest. And
to be extremely fair, all of those that you mentioned have been extremely kind to us.
Yes.
Grassi sent his posse our way. Perna and I talk all the time. Perna's sent he owns a coffee company, Benchwarmer Brew. Shout out to Perna.
It's good coffee too, by the way.
Yeah, he sent both of us coffee. 5 Points Vids has been, incredibly I would say generous with his time and his understanding of YouTube as we tried to start this channel. Marcus at that football guy or that franchise guy, like, has had me on the show to do Bears previews and talks with Brett and I all the time. These are all people that are colleagues, right? They're not competition. They're not people that we're trying to outdo. They're people that we look at and cheer for their success and go, man, that was really cool. Do we have something like that? And them with us as well. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Streveler or Mahomes next 10 years.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Zach would never. Yes, it's true.
God,
Zach
damn
couldn't.
it. That's a lot funnier than it should be.
I love Streveler, and I did not know that we would see him in meaningful in-season action. Preseason, I thought was going to be his oyster. This is cool. Like, yeah. I hope that he goes off because, not a great throw. He's trying to force it to Wilson. I get it. But, like, I hope for Jets fans, they have some hope because, honestly, watching the first half of this game felt hopeless to me. And I referenced the time watching Trubisky when he was struggling with the Bears. It feels hopeless when your quarterback can't do it. Yeah. You know your quarterback can't do it. The other team knows your quarterback can't do it. It's an empty, hollow feeling. And right now, there's a bunch of Jets fans in bars around New York and New Jersey going, yeah, like, get some, young man.
You know what the feeling is? And we've talked about this so long ago, before the Bears even drafted Fields. When you know your margin for error is so small that taking a holding penalty on first down, you already know you're punting.
Yeah, it's over.
That's what that feels like. And it's the most frustrating shit ever because you know that your entire team has to play perfect because of who you have at quarterback. The Chiefs, when they take a first down holding penalty, they don't care. They had 10 penalties against Houston for like 100 yards. They had 10 penalties and 2 turnovers. They didn't give a shit because they got Mahomes, who completed like 20 straight passes and like threw for 300 yards again, and they won again. And I know it was close, but like the fact that they played a very imperfect game and still won. Like if the Jets had 10 penalties and 2 turnovers, they lose to the Texans by 3 touchdowns. Huh.
Okay, you got to read Kel's super chat. This is news.
Had to make a quick run to Wegmans at halftime. Saw someone else there wearing a bootleg football shirt. Thought you ought to know. We saw him in the wild. Let's go.
We made Wegmans.
Which Wegmans? Now I'm curious. Where
which
are you?
Weggies? Weggies is all over the place. We got to know which East Coast Wegmans, and it's probably Drew or Chris.
I was gonna say if it's anywhere near Buffalo, it might be Drew.
Yeah, if it's near West Seneca, it's probably Drew or Chris, the Rockpile guys. Not that we don't have other bootleggers in Buffalo. We certainly do, but those guys are our guys. I was on Rockpile this week because the Bills are playing Bears this weekend, and Drew and Chris had me on not only to preview the Bears game, but also, and you might not know this, they celebrate Festivus this week. So I had to bring a grievance, the airing of the grievances.
What's your grievance?
My grievance was sloth on Ryan Poles' part, but I had to change it to wide receivers sloth because he hasn't gone out and just ripped from other practice squads because he could with that room. Anyways,
Rochester.
Yeah, there you go. Garbage plates, home of the garbage plate. Well, we have a patron at the mid-level who's come to our roundtables who lives in Rochester.
You're right.
Yes. So it was probably him. Woohoo! I love it. Either way, I love it. And thank you for telling us. It's super fun. It doesn't always happen. We don't see him all that often. There's not we are small but mighty at this point, and it's still super fun to see that stuff run into it. To have people pick us out of a crowd like they have at football games. Shout out to the teacher at SoFi who walked all the way across the stadium to come find us because she knew we were there, and she picked out we had posted a photo, and she figured out from that photo like where roughly we were sitting.
Triangulated our position.
Yeah, and walked all the way across the damn stadium. I mean, the whole thing. She was literally on the other side in the nosebleeds and came to tell us what the podcast meant to her. And
that was amazing.
That was so cool. And we've had that experience in Buffalo and in Allegiant, in Las Vegas, and it's cool every time. It never isn't really, really cool and moving to have people tell us what bootleg means to them.
Did you see Troy's super chat? My cousin was Streveler's quarterbacks coach at Marion Central Catholic. I love this.
I just told you, Marion Central Catholic. Oh, shout out to Marion Central Catholic. Chris Streveler's high school.
So Marion Central Catholic sounds like a Jersey school. Is that where he grew up? Where is that?
No. Chicago Heights. Marion Central Catholic.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's Minnesota, the connection there. He would have been scouted upper Midwest.
Woodstock, Illinois. There we go.
Yeah, I'm going to go notable alumni of Marion Central because he's not the only one. Brian Balaga.
Oh, how about
Marion Central Catholic.
Oh, Trevor, how did you get out of that? CJ Mosley had Trevor Lawrence dead to rights, and he still got the first down.
I believe that Bowen coaches against Marion Central Catholic.
That's true. He's in the Chicago area. Yep.
Yeah, and plays in that league, I believe.
God, look at Trevor get out of that. He's so athletic.
Yeah, he's a great runner.
And did you see he looked back at CJ, was just laughing at him.
You'll notice that we don't say sneaky.
No, he's not sneaky.
Gritty.
He's just athletic.
He's not sneaky or gritty. He's damn fast.
Yeah.
He's real fast.
But we could use some more pass attempts.
How many?
At least several.
At least several.
He's at 20. He's at 25. So we need 8 more in like the next 8 minutes, and we need Garrett Wilson to get 3 more catches, and then we win $1,000.
Is it 3 or 2?
3 has to be over 4.
Come on, Streveler.
We need Trevor Lawrence to throw a lot, and we need.
And
Garrett
how
Wilson.
Much do we win with 4 out of 5?
With 4 out of 5, we win
$200.
$200.
Yeah. All right.
Which would pay for the night, basically. All right, 3rd and 7. We're gonna get another pass attempt here, which would put us down to leading 7.
Yes, and thank you for asking, but no, my back's fine. It's okay. I can carry us.
Hey man, whatever gets us $1,000 to pay for Shrine Bowl, I'm okay.
At this point, we don't care.
Vegas is expensive in January.
Vegas is expensive, period. All right, so wrong game. Let's get back to the game.
I got some new glasses, and I thought I looked good until my friend told me I look like the Mexican Dahmer, so that's my night. Oh, that's funny.
I don't.
What a
I have
dart from Trevor, by the way.
I have a lot of responses to that. I don't think any of them are arrowable.
Mexican Dahmer. That's good. That was a fucking dime from Trevor. Watch this throw against DJ Reed.
Zip.
I
Right
mean,
on the body, too.
God, you can't. You
Oh,
can't
and he
defend
stepped
that.
into it, too.
You can't.
No,
defend
look at that. He stepped into it. That was never more than about 8 feet off the turf. The entire duration of that throw. Never topped more than about 8 feet off the ground.
He's nuts, man.
Laser.
He's nuts.
Laser. Oh! Okay, Jets were not fooled, but that was a cool play.
That's fine. A TFL sets up more passing opportunities. That's all I care about.
Guess who got the tackle?
I didn't see.
Quincy.
Of course.
Just on a line. Quincy Williams knifing through on that one. Made the read. Full sprint from the time of the handoff because the whole point was a quick handoff, right? Trevor basically takes the half turn and shoves it into the gut of the guy running by. Quincy Williams, not fooled, on a line, keeps an angle in the backfield. TFL, one of the best tacklers going right now in the league.
2nd and 13.
Another pass attempt.
Sticker out. All right. And it's 3rd and medium, so we're going to get another one. I'm feeling okay. EJ, I'm feeling okay. Guy with no vowels for $5. Happy holidays. Question for you both. Do you know any bank robbers, thieves, or George Clooney looking for any good plays left in Greg Roman's vault? Fun fact.
Can't wait. I can't wait. Go ahead. Say it.
My grandfather was a no bullshit bank robber. And I wish I was kidding about that, but not only is he a bank robber, he's a bad bank robber. Because he cut his way through the roof of the bank without having a way to get out of the bank with the money. And so he had to wait there until the cops got there to arrest him. Now, I wish I could say I had a cool grandfather that robbed banks and got away with it. I do not. I have a grandfather that robbed banks without a fucking stepladder. So
I think that you do indeed have a cool grandfather. He's just not the cool, like, together grandfather. He's the one with the good stories, but not necessarily.
Is that a good story? Yeah, here's the time I robbed the bank in the worst possible way. Yeah.
Well, not the worst possible way. Come on, there are worse ways to rob banks. You could, like, accidentally cut your way into the sewer line. Oh, man.
Almost a great special teams play.
No, they gave it to him. They gave it to him.
Oh, okay. All right, then. I'll take it.
Okay, that's like the 4th punt inside the 2 in the 4th quarter that we've seen in like the last 2 weeks. Like that's clutch punting. How do we become a special teams podcast?
Okay, I saw a comment in chat. Quincy Williams plays like someone cut his brake line.
Yes.
That's a great descriptor.
All gas,
I'm gonna use that forever. Oh, that's so good.
My daughter today asked me on the way we were running in to do some shopping, and she said, "Dad, why do people say pedal to the metal?" And I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to explain this one."
Back in the day.
And we also, I also gave her the what I would call the synonym of, and I don't know if you've heard this one. People say I matted it. Mat the throttle, like push the throttle all the way to the floor mat.
Oh,
I've got it matted.
Yeah.
MATTED, which is another great car term. Now I got it matted or mat it. Like, let's go. So not only was I able to explain pedal to the metal, I was also, and you might also hear, sounds like good stuff.
Chat says, you've got 2 grandfathers. Maybe the other one was cool. So my other grandfather on my other side, another fun story from him. So he was a Marine. He actually just passed away about a month ago. He was a Marine, and he was in Korea with the Marines in the Korean War. And he was a tank mechanic. And so they would call him out anytime a tank broke down in the mud or in the, wherever. They'd call him out to go fix it in the field, right? And so he and I think it was a CO. It was like a 2-man team. They basically left the FOB, and they were going out to wherever this tank was to go fix it in the field. And they get out of this tree line, and there's a clearing. And keep in mind, it's just them, right? And so they're like, this looks sketchy. Like, we know the front line isn't here, but this is still sketchy. We don't want to just, like, run or walk through a clearing in the middle of an active fucking war zone. So they're like, all right, we're just going to run. So they fucking just sprint ass through this clearing. And, like, nothing happened. There's no gunshots, no anything. They're just running to get to the other side. And so the guy who was with my grandpa says, man, I can't believe we made that. And my grandpa Gary was like, what do you mean? There's nobody out here. Nobody was shooting at us. And he's like, no, that was a minefield. I just didn't tell you. And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, well, we have to get there quick. I didn't think you were going to go if I told you.
Probably correct.
The Marines were different in the 50s, man.
Grandfather with a plan. I would have brought a ladder or, a bayonet to, like, look for mines. Yeah, it would have taken longer. Oh, it's Streveler. Did you get a face mask there? Yep.
I think he got one. No? They're not giving him the flag?
They didn't call it, though.
There it is. Coming in late.
Oh, okay. He's right. He got it. It wasn't the 15-yard kind, but look at this contact. Here it is right here. Bop. Face. Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's definitely a face mask.
That's a 15. Yep, personal foul. He pulled it. Didn't just touch it.
Was your grandpa Chiefsaholic, wolf mask and all? What a wild fucking story that is.
Yeah, 100%. EJ, during the infamous absence of Kel for $5. Thank you for the $5, Kel. And happy holidays to you and yours. EJ, during the infamous absent live stream. Yes, it will forever be known as the infamous absent live stream. Oh, Streveler running for his life, getting mangled. Whew. He's like, yeah, good rush, guys. Yikes. All right. You started to mention try before you got distracted. Have you made Brett watch the absinthe episode yet?
Of, like, Try Guys?
Oh, the absinthe. Oh, you're right. The Try channel.
Oh, the Try channel. No, I have not seen that yet.
I don't believe I've shown him that one. I showed him so Irish. The Try channel is a channel on YouTube. We'll see what Streveler's got here. Oh, no. Little late. This is why probably you don't start him for the whole season, but,
it couldn't be worse, EJ. It could not be worse.
No, but I think the Jacksonville secondary has recovered from the initial shock of, like, oh my God, this guy can pass, to, like, oh wait, he's a preseason hero. It's okay. We can play. We're still good. We're good. We're good. So Try channel on YouTube. A bunch of Irish folks putting together hilarious content. Go look at it. Especially their liquor sampler advent calendars, which they do all in one go with 4 teams. Hilarious stuff. And they do different things. They try foods, they try alcohols, they try things on this Try channel, and then they record the reactions of Irish people to these things. I have shown Brett a couple of episodes of the Try channel, which I find hilarious. I have not yet shown him the absinthe episode, although one episode I did show him did have one type of absinthe in the episode. So partially, but no, I will make sure that over the holidays, Brett consumes the absinthe episode, just no absinthe.
You're not consuming real absinthe, yeah.
There it is. There it is.
Is that 3 or 4? Oh, God.
It still counts. It still counts. He caught it. If they call that a fumble, he caught it. He had to have caught it.
Yes, but I don't know if he got to 5 receptions, though. That got him to 4, I think.
Right, but there's 4 minutes left.
Unless the Jags just run this bitch out.
At 4 minutes?
I
don't know. Jets defense pretty good. Oh, look at that. Is that a foot that takes that thing out?
That's a foot fumble, yeah.
Wow.
That's got to be the most unlucky way to fumble possible.
Is to get a heel kicking up from underneath.
How does that happen to anybody but the Jets?
I don't know. Pronger for $5. Merry Christmas, Bootleg Football Podcast live stream host. Thank you very much, Pronger5. We will be enjoying the holidays already are enjoying the holidays. And that will just crank up. I don't know about you, but today was like a serious, legit work day for me. People are starting to be like, I'm off work. And I was like, I've had a semi slow week up to now, but like today was like, I got to get up. I got to shower. I got to get dressed. I got to be a real person today. I got to like blow through a bunch of stuff.
Nikki's last day at work for the break was yesterday. She doesn't go back till like January 3rd.
Yes.
She's like solid 2 weeks off. I don't know what she's going to do with herself.
Yeah.
She's a
I'm not sure I would.
This is not normal.
I'm not sure I would trust that. Yeah.
There was one from JJ. There it is. I'm going to Vegas from January 2nd to 6th to go to see a Pittsburgh Penguins game. Any recommendations to go do? If you like cigars, inside Caesars is the Monte Cristo Cigar Lounge, which I happen to really, really like. If you're not into cigars, you don't have
you
to
could
go.
be like EJ and go do work in the room.
EJ is not a cigar person. That's totally fine.
Like, I'm not going to do that.
The steak place right next to it. You can also order dinner from the steak place. They'll bring it to you in the cigar lounge, or you can just go to the steak place in general.
Nobu's right around the corner.
Nobu's right there if you like really expensive sushi, but it's really fucking good sushi.
And it just depends. Anything you want to do in Vegas, you can do. If you want to drive cars really fast on a racetrack, got it. No problem. You want to go shoot high-powered weapons at a firing range, no worries. You want to go
skydiving, they got that too.
Yeah, you want to go to Top Golf, which you could probably do in the major city near where you live, but you're in Vegas, so you want to go hit some golf balls and do it in a polo shirt because it's 80 degrees, like hit it. Obviously pools, water parks, go-karts, anything sort of off strip that you want to do in Vegas is available. And I would recommend, so you said January you'll be there
2nd. That's right after, I don't think there's any Monday Night Football that week. So I think it's right after it's right before the last slate of regular season games.
Because that was what I was going to say is if there are regular season games, which would be probably January. Are they playing on the 1st?
He's there from the 2nd to the 6th. So
right, but on the 1st, are they playing a full slate of games on New Year's Day?
Yes, but he's not there till the next day.
Yeah, I was getting it. But if you were there on a full NFL Sunday, go to a sports book in Vegas. It's cool. Like, it's super cool to have the entire wall. Get yourself a reserved seat, one of the soft ones. Cup holder, people coming by, say, what do you need to drink? Can bet on anything you want there, obviously. Just sit back and watch it all unfold, both the people watching and the game watching. It's cool. It's something to do once. I don't know that I would want to do it every Sunday, but it's a sweet experience. It's fun.
Go check out Allegiant Stadium while you're there, too. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, cool. Take the tour. They have tours, and they will take you into the sort of underside of the stadium, the bowels of the stadium, which it's hard to even call them bowels because they're like super luxurious, like fan club, high, season ticket holder plus sort of areas that we got to walk through when we were there at Shrine Bowl and just gorgeous stuff like that. It's $1 billion spaceship that dropped in the middle of the desert that they happen to play football in. And it is, it's really cool. Like, and they do tours. So,
and I think you get to go on the field in the tour too. I think you do.
And the field is cushy.
Oh my God. The field's like walking on a pillow.
All the Shrine Bowl players were like, man, have you felt this field? I don't care what program they were in college. They were like, have you felt this field? This field is like soft, man. It's amazing.
The SEC guys were like, what is this? Is this what NFL is like? I was like,
yeah, this is what the best money in the world can buy you. And if you really like barbecue, I realize a lot of people don't think Las Vegas is a big barbecue place, but there is a place right by Allegiant, and we can throw it in the chat that we wandered over to after practice. We just asked somebody
I can't remember what that place is called.
Oh my God. We ordered like 2 plates, and she's like, she looks at us, the 2 of us, and she goes, are you sure? And we were like, what do you mean? She's like, I'm not sure the 2 of you can finish 2 plates.
She was right. She was
absolutely right. Yeah. We finished 2/3 of 1 plate, and we were hungry. Like, so cheers to the hostess at that place for making a good call, saving us some money. But we will throw the name of that barbecue place in there because it's right down by Allegiant. It's like 4 or 5 blocks from Allegiant Stadium, and it was
so fucking good.
Yeah, legit delicious. We had like brisket nachos or something. It was so good.
Michael Asher for $2. Jets comeback spoiled by athlete's foot. But
I don't even.
Holden
God.
for $5. Thank you, Holden. Finally got to see my Niners at home beat Brady. Cheers, boys. Been a while since I've been able to donate. Cheers to you, Holden. Hope you're having a fun holiday season. Hope you're hanging out with friends and family and doing all that good stuff. Happy that you were able to see the Niners finally get over that Brady hill. It's been a while. I don't even know if had he ever lost to 49ers? I don't know if he had.
He had never lost to a rookie starter ever.
Well, that part I knew, but the 49ers, he had continuously taken his rage out on for 2 decades for not drafting him. So
I want to say, yes, it is Jesse Ray's Barbecue.
That sounds
in Las
right.
Vegas, Nevada.
That sounds right.
So it is JESSIERAE '. Jesse Ray's Barbecue. It is spitting distance from Allegiant Stadium. And little hole in the wall, little cinder block place, does not look like anything. The best kind of barbecue place. It's amazing. So shout out to them. Great food, great service.
Jags,
oh boy, Trevor's in trouble. No, throw it,
throw it, Trevor.
He got it off. He got it off. That's an attempt.
That counts as an attempt.
Yes, and he got to pass the line of scrimmage. It's not a penalty. Huge work by him.
All right, where are we at? Let me see.
I was going to say, we're close.
He's at 30. We need 3 more.
And if he got that one, could be pivotal. Because shot of the week.
72. Fuck, how is he not bent in half?
That's Michael Clemens. Wow.
Yikes. Yikes indeed.
He's like, I don't know, man. That guy hit me really hard.
So we need 1 more catch from Wilson, 3 more throws from T-Law.
I don't know if we're going to get 3 in garbage time.
I don't know if we're going to get 3.
I knew the number was high, but are we at 4 of 5 or 3 of 5?
We're at 4 of 5 for Wilson.
So we already made $200.
Oh, no. We need 1 more catch from Wilson to get.
We need 1 more catch from Wilson. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we paid for the slip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we didn't lose anything. Great start. We need 1 more catch from Wilson, which is likely. And we need 3 more passing attempts from Trevor, which is not.
If we can get a catch from Wilson and then like another weird fucking turnover and then 3 attempts from T-Law to wrap this thing up, we got $1,000.
We're marching into the holidays, happy people. But honestly, we paid for our slip. We've had a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. 500 people hanging out with us a few days before Christmas, watching what arguably was not a preeminent, like bright lights, big city type game. Can't thank you enough. We do this because we love it and we have a lot of fun with it. That's the base reason why Bootleg works. But it's for all of you. Like, the reason that we work our asses off to produce all this content and put it out there is so that we can share it with folks who are like-minded. And that's all of you. Thank you so much for that. Makes our lives a very different place.
Crick Patton, hacky sack fumble, Mary Bootleg family. That's good.
It is pretty much
Thank
the
you
hacky
for
sack
$5,
fumble.
Craig. Find a cure for $10. As much pain as I'm in because of Jacoby, as long as we're better than the Jets. Spoken like a true Patriots fan. Also, next time you're in Vegas, you'll have to visit my sister's barbecue place, Roll and Smoke. Has a place in Allegiant too. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it. You know
was
what
that
happened?
the one that we walked by?
No. I'm going to tell a nasty Brett Coleman story.
Oh, this could be
so. Brett gets really focused occasionally. It's one of his better/worse
when I'm in my manic
traits.
Focus states. Yes,
that's right. It can be awesome and create awesome results. It can be devastating if you're, say, I don't know, hungry in Vegas and haven't eaten for like 8 hours, and he says, no, man. They said there was a great barbecue place in the stadium. We'll go. And you get there and he's like, I got to do 3 other things. We just got to walk by it. And you're like, dude, you said we were going to eat. It's the only reason I held off. And he's like, no, we got to get this done. We don't have enough time. We got to go here. And I was like, okay, man, but you're going to get the hangry EJ, which is not a good thing. Like, I have this like Cliff Bar in my pocket, but that's not going to hold out. And we like walk by the barbecue place and I'm like, dude, you promised. Like, it's so bad. And he's like, no, we got to do this. Turns out whatever we were doing, completely worthless. The barbecue would have been 10 times better.
I can't even remember what we were doing.
Exactly. All for you, all for the content, all for the greater love of producing good stuff. But he was like, yeah, we're going. And we got there. He's like, we got to skip it. Like, damn it, man. You know that means we're not going to eat for like another 5 hours. He's like, yeah, I know. I was like,
Was that the day that we went to Jesse Ray's? Maybe what? No? Different day?
No.
Or was that we went to the place that... So there's this other place in Vegas where literally all they have is just like 30 different types of poutine.
Poutine, yeah.
That place is actually pretty dope.
That place was dope. And the guy that was serving was a Bears fan and was all excited about bootleg. I was wearing my Bears bootleg shirt and he was like, oh. And he was awesome. He was hardcore Bears fan living in Las Vegas. But no, it was one of those days we were running from thing to thing and you're like, no, I heard there's this great barbecue place in the stadium. I was like, awesome. That sounds amazing. Got there like, can't eat. Too much work to do. I was like, all right, here it is. We need a Zach Wilson completion. That's what we need. Streveler looking for him. Nope. Throws underneath. Which is a Carter completion, which, kind of. But Streveler.
I don't know if this is a giraffe or a brachiosaurus, but...
You're going to get credit either way. Come on, Streveler. Look to your left. Look to your left, man. Uh-oh.
Come on.
Got his eyes down.
Come on.
He threw it. He threw it to Carter again. That's 2 to Carter. He's he's moving the chains, but he stopped the clock as well. I appreciate that.
Trevor Lawrence strikes again.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Slade.
That's
well
good.
played.
That's good.
Well played, Slade. I very much appreciate that.
Trevor Lawrence. Travis Etienne just hit 1,000.
Don't even look at this comparison, man. They're comparing Wilson to Streveler. It's ugly.
Not even fair.
It's ugly.
That's the thing is like Streveler's like he's doing okay, but like that's
come on, throw it to him. Throw it to him, Streveler. No, he's gonna take off. He wants the first down. Oh, come on, buddy, don't fold. It's only second down, but live to fight another day. Good job, Chris Streveler. Lawrence is like, hey man, we're gonna win this game. I'm excited about this. What was the stat you sent me? The Jags have not won a primetime road game since.
Hold on, I got this one. This was from Jaguar Gator. Any Duval fans out there are probably very familiar with him. Amazing Jaguars content creator and football historian. November 19th, 2000. This is pre-9/11, okay? A lot of the people in this chat weren't even alive. November 19th, 2000. That was the last time the Jaguars won a road primetime game. They are 0-4 lifetime on Thursday Night Football. Tonight would be the first in over 22 years that they won a road
history made
game. That's insane. Fucking pre-9/11.
Fant with a false start for the Jets. Still pouring, by the way. Cheers to the fans who are still there because it is hosing. They are soaked. All right. I need Streveler to look left here. Looking left. Nope. Goes back right. Good ball. Well, they're in hurry up. They're going to get a lot of shots at it. Oh, they're going to get this one off? For the 2 minute? They are. One more chance. Look left, man. Look left. Oh, get your eyes up. Throw that ball. Streveler's a little deer in the headlights here. He's looking through 2 reads and then he's pulling his eyes down and they're not coming back up. So not surprising given his position on the depth chart, roughly 3rd / almost 4th on the Jets depth chart. But I'm looking for one more completion to Garrett here. Doesn't have to be deep. Just hit him on a crosser, comeback route. Maybe that little sight adjust we saw earlier with Zach Wilson, just call it right, throw it to his back shoulder. Doesn't matter.
Everybody in chat saying their age that they were the last time the Jags won a road primetime game. Oh, man.
30 versus Trevor in the Super Bowl.
Christ.
I don't think so, but it would be interesting. Why did I start Zay Jones in fantasy? I don't know, because he was going up against one of the best pass defenses out there. It's a tough call. I looked at the Zay Jones numbers. I wanted to pick one. I like Zay Jones. I liked him coming out of East Carolina. I wanted to put a Zay Jones number up there tonight, and I couldn't in good faith against this defense because, look, sauce is sauce, but DJ Reader's no slouch. He is a legit number 2 corner, and it was going to be tough sledding tonight no matter what, regardless of Wilson versus Streveler debate. Not even born. EJ, what does pedal to the metal mean? Pedal to the metal means you push the accelerator on a car all the way to the floorboards, which the pan of the car, the underbelly of the car, you should be made out of metal. Well, it's still made out of metal typically. Not always, but literally you would be pressing the accelerator all the way until it contacted the floorboard. Pedal to the metal means basically gas it, go for it, give it everything it's got. So that's pedal to the metal.
I'm looking something up real quick here.
So what I'm hearing is, when in doubt, blame Brett. Well, no, only in certain situations. And finding out what those situations are is the real crux of the thing. I'm just watching Streveler on this rush. Roland Smoke Ultras is catering as well. I'll see if a DM to Galco will work any wonders. I hope so. I would love to get some. I am a big barbecue fan. It's super enjoyable. Which Jag do we have on the field? 91. Not awesome. Jags 91. Oh no, it's Smoot. One of their quietly more effective pass rushers this year, or maybe not even quietly. Smoot has made noise each of the last 2 seasons.
He had a shitload of tackles for loss against Dallas too.
Yeah, that's a loss for them down the stretch, trying to clinch a playoff spot. But there you go. Educational, I appreciate it. Sweet. Used to be my old job, even though I wasn't a teacher officially. Come on, that's to Garrett.
Did we get it?
Where's
the flag?
Come
on now.
Tell me he didn't hold his hands down at the end of that one.
Give me the money.
Whoa, Jets fans getting chippy. Or maybe it's Jaguars fans getting chippy. Which that's not a phrase I figure happening together unless it's on social media. By the way, don't mess with Jags social media. They will
fuck you up.
They will gut you. Period.
They will fuck you up.
Remember The Rock, speaking of things that are maybe even farther back than the last Jags primetime road win? I'm going to take pleasure in gutting you, boy. Oh, no, they're kneeling down already?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that technically counts as a push, which means
we match the cost of the slip, but come on, give me holding on that last one to Wilson.
I think
give me the eye.
I'm not entirely sure what the payout is if it's a push.
I think it's just
I think we just get it back. I think we just get the
cost of the
back.
slip. Yeah, it's a 0, which is fine. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I get it.
Mine failed miserably.
All right, we'll bring mine up again. We'll show the folks. Remind them that, hey, you got Sunday coming up. You can take a shot with Prize Picks. Means a great deal to us. Use our code BOOTLEG for a match of your initial deposit up to $100. If you get 3 out of 5 correct, you're pushing. You're basically getting your slip back. 4 out of 5, you're doubling whatever you put down. And 5 out of 5, it's a
10x.
What X payout? 10x payout.
Yeah.
You also, if you're feeling randy and really sure and want to shame us and say, hey, I can get 6 out of 6 on an NFL Sunday, which is a challenge on any NFL Sunday. It's 25 times payout.
EJ hit one of those about a month
6
ago.
Out of 6.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanksgiving, we hit one.
Put down $20 and he won 500.
Yeah. So it is possible. You can do it. My good buddy Ross Reed, who does the Bears betting show over on Second City Gridiron, has hit 3 of those suckers. 3 5 out of 5s. Not a 6 out of 6, but 3 5 out of 5s this year already. So 3 10 times payouts. He's doing well for himself.
I think Michael just said, I think he won $100 with the code today. How about that? Look at you. Awesome work. Supporting the podcast, giving yourself a little extra holiday money. That's fantastic. But basically, we were hoping for Garrett Wilson, who's come in on a hot streak versus a rough pass defense, to get 5 receptions,
Thought that was a lock, and then Zach Wilson happened. Holy cow. In terms of Trevor Lawrence, the number was high. I was worried about attempts, but I thought he would have to throw a lot. Turns out he did have to throw a lot, but he didn't quite make it. He was what? How many attempts short? 2?
3.
Okay,
Very
3
close.
attempts.
Oh no,
short
he
of a
was
win.
2. He was 2. Yeah.
2 attempts short of a win. So we were right there. Missed it by that much, and then Zach Wilson basically tanked our Garrett Wilson receptions total. If Streveler had come in a quarter earlier, pretty confident we would have walked away with a 4 out of 5
G. Full G.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 slip. But anyways, 500 of you, thank you so much for watching along on a Thursday night football game, which wasn't even all that hyped, but we're pretty excited about it.
We'll be back next week with our next podcast, breaking down everything that happens for the rest of Week 16 and looking forward to Week 17. And also, we're going to be putting together our travel plans for Vegas and Super Bowl and all that, so stay tuned for that. If you guys happen to live in Vegas or the general Phoenix area, we'll be coming your way pretty soon. So we love you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll see you next Wednesday-ish. And until then, later.
Happy holidays.